And from Houston to San Antonio, we welcome you to the Alamo Bowl tonight. Oklahoma State and Arizona in a Big 12 Pac-10 matchup. Seen from the Riverwalk in San Antonio, we are set to go. Arizona won the toss, they've deferred. Oklahoma State will receive. John Bonanno set to get us underway in the 18th Alamo Bowl. That will be Justin Gilbert, the freshman. Gilbert has 2 kickoff returns for a touchdown this year, but the freshman is stopped just short of the 25-yard line. And we're underway in San Antonio, and delighted that you could join us. Reese Davis, Craig James, Jesse Palmer here, Jen Brown down on the field. And guys, we're expecting to see plenty of points tonight. It's been a record-setting year on offense for Oklahoma State under first-year offensive coordinator Dana Holgorsen. They have a 3-headed monster with quarterback Brandon Weeden, running back Kendall Hunter, and wide receiver Justin Blackmon. They stretch the field horizontally, vertically. It's going to be tough to stop.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on this Arizona defense to find a way to get them off the field a few times during this game. You're not going to stop this Oklahoma State offense.
Play fake. Brandon Weeden, the quarterback, fires high, and it is incomplete. He was looking for Josh Cooper. And on the first pass of the night from Brandon Weeden is incomplete. Here is Weeden, a 27-year-old former baseball player who's thrown for over 4,000 yards.
And it's remarkable to consider that his only meaningful experience heading into this season was 1/2 last year against Colorado. He's learned on the job, and he's been great this year.
Second pass is right on the money. Bo Bowling with the catch. He gets out across the 30-yard line. Bo will be a little over a yard short of the first down.
And I think as you've watched this offense evolve with Dana Holgorsen, the pace by which this offense goes is tremendous. They are fast-paced, and the more that Weeden was able to handle of that pace, the better the offense came. I mean, so this has been a tremendous offense this season, week in and week out.
They gave Bowling just enough for the first down, so it was a pickup of 10 rather than 9 as they adjusted the spot. And now Oklahoma State gives it to Kendall Hunter. Hunter, who ran for over 1,500 yards this season, is knocked down by Brooks Reed. Mike Gundy, the former Oklahoma State quarterback, is a head coach at his alma mater. Gundy now working in his 6th year, 46-29 record, had his team just a win away from the Big 12 championship game, a heartbreaking loss in the season's final regular season day to Oklahoma. The Pokes going for their school record 11th win tonight. The short pass is completed to Kendall Hunter out of the backfield, and he is snowed under. First hit by Paul Vassallo of Arizona.
This is an Arizona defense that was very beat up late in the regular season, but they've had 3 weeks to get healthy, and they're looking like it right now. They're flying around, Craig.
This group here, we did their last game with Arizona State, and it was a rivalry game, a heartbreaking loss, a couple of missed extra points cost them that game. So far, they look like they've got the energy that I was looking for in this one.
Pressure coming. Justin Blackmon, the Biletnikoff winner, with his first catch of the night. Shaquille Richardson knocked him down.
And you know what you're going to see is an Arizona defense that's able to hug up on these wide receivers. If you don't hug them close underneath like they're doing right here, you're going to get beaten. It's going to be a long night.
That catch was not enough for a first down, but the 8-yard catch was enough to give Blackmon the NCAA record for receiving yards by a sophomore. And then Bailey will be punting for the first time in his collegiate career. The All-American punter Quinn Sharp, academically ineligible for this game, bugged right, had it go right through him, and there were Cowboys everywhere to pounce on it. They held it, and Oklahoma State has the first break of the game. Andrew Suter, the long snapper, was down there to recover Snuder in the lineup because the normal long snapper, Mark Yerry's academically ineligible.
Bug Wright was a player that was suspended for the final 2 games of the regular season. There was some concern coming into tonight with him back receiving punts because he hadn't done it in a long, long time.
You saw his head look downfield, right? He was trying to see where the coverage was coming from, and that's just a lack of consistent time back there, and they got him.
So 1st and 10 for Weeden. Underneath to Cooper. Cooper's knocked down at the 21-yard line, and you know Wright probably taking that muff even harder. He's a native of the state of Oklahoma, grew up wanting to play for the Cowboys, and said he intended tonight to show Oklahoma State what it missed when he wound up in Tucson.
And again, this is the first game that Arizona's ever played inside in a dome stadium, and the balls do come down differently for receivers.
Little pitch on the inside. That's Tracy Moore. And Moore's close to a first down in the red zone. Jake Fisher there to stop it.
And how about if you're Arizona defensively, you're able to stop Oklahoma State early, one of the most prolific offenses in the country, get them off the field. Now you're right back on. You don't have all the wind you want. You're a little tired. You got your backs to the wall.
Oklahoma State, the best red zone team in the country. They've scored nearly 95% of the time. Whedon, oh, a big hit on Bowling as he got drilled by Robert Golden.
Robert Golden was a safety last year who they've converted to cornerback, and you can see that physicality, Craig, how he comes up and makes a hit.
And I also see, Jesse, the familiarity of the offense. You saw how the corner and the safety worked together there, knowing where the play was going. Arizona's offense goes against this defense in spring training, so they have to understand how to play with that spread offense.
Second down and 10. Blackmon. Blackmon dragged out of bounds by a foot by Golden, or he would have scored.
That's like to be one-on-one in the open field with a guy who just won the Biletnikoff Award.
That's the beauty of these spread offenses. They get the football into the hands of their playmakers on the perimeter of the field in one-on-one situations. If you cannot tackle in space, you do not stand a chance against Oklahoma State.
Three-back set that Dana Holgerson, the offensive coordinator, has used, and this is Jeremy Smith. Smith punching it down close to the 5-yard line. He's knocked down by Vassallo again. Vassallo, the leading tackler for the Wildcat defense.
You know, the one noticeable difference with Dana Holgerson here and this offense versus where his previous stop was at University of Houston, they'll run the ball about 48% of the time, he says. So at Houston, they were 33% of the time. When you've got the runners they have like they have at Oklahoma State, it really puts the pressure on defenses.
And that run was enough for the first down, first and goal for the Cowboys. Smith has it again. Looking for the pylon. Touchdown, Oklahoma State. Only 2 times this season at Oklahoma State taking an opening drive for a touchdown, and they didn't do it this time, and they took advantage of the muff punt and turned it into 6 points.
All right, it's the pistol with the back set off to each side, so there's balance there. You don't know which side the ball's going to. The same effect of a pistol offense.
3 running backs. It was an inverted wishbone look by Oklahoma State.
Here's the Lou Groza Award winner, Dan Bailey, for the extra point. He knocks it through, 66 of 67. Missed only 1 this year. It's enough to give the Cowboys the early lead. Oklahoma State with his 31st takeaway of the season. He came into the night 4th in the country in takeaways, and Smith made sure that it turned into points. Pokes up early. Jeremy Smith touchdown has put Oklahoma State on top 7-0 against Arizona, and then coming after a muffed punt from Bug Wright. Cowboys have the lead and about to kick off. Smith is a running back that they're very high on. Of course, Kendall Hunter playing his last game as a Cowboy tonight. And there is Wright, the Oklahoma native, who is a dangerous return man, and had the first punt of the evening go through him. And as a result, Cowboys turned it into points. Now to kick off for the first time is Dan Bailey. This is a little bit different for Oklahoma State. Quinn Sharp, also the punter, the normal kickoff man, led the nation in touchbacks. This one will be returned by Travis Cobb. Travis Cobb has running room. Only Bailey in front. Slowed him up just enough, and Oklahoma State corrals him, but not before Travis Cobb takes it inside the 35-yard line. Justin Gilbert there to help out. 64 yards on the return.
Now, you can't blame this on the kicker because the hang time was outstanding. This is all about a lack of coverage and or good blocking up front and explosive legs.
But what a difference not having Quinn Sharp, an All-American punter who, like Reese said, led the nation with 53 touchbacks. Field position has been an advantage for Oklahoma State all year long. Here's Arizona starting inside the 35.
And it's where Nick Foles, the Texas native, who's played 3 games in high school in this building, the pitch to Keoa Antolin. Antolin trying to get the corner. Markel Martin is there to stop him. Nick Foles, despite all the attention, and rightfully so, given to Andrew Luck and Darren Thomas, it was Nick Foles who led the Pac-10 in passing yards.
And I think in this particular game, they can't afford 3 and outs. We've already seen their defense put with their back to the wall. I think the pressure's on Foles to match score for score.
There's a lot of pressure on co-offensive coordinators Bill Biedenbaugh and Seth Luttrell, because field goals won't beat a team averaging 45 points a game.
Not quite on target. First catch by Terrence Miller. They're going to lose a yard on it as we check in with Jen Brown.
I talked to Mike Stoops before the game about the mindset of his team coming in, especially after those 4 straight losses to end the regular season. Now, he joked with me and he said, I hope it's a lot better than last season. Now, he's referencing their 33-0 loss to Nebraska in the Holiday Bowl. But in all seriousness, he said that he feels like his team's played really well in practice. They're much smoother, and he's ready, for this game, and they're ready to go. So we'll see how that carries over right now.
Foles steps up to avoid some heat. They're coming behind him, and Nick's going to get it inside the 30, but he's going to be short of the first down. Cooper Bassett there to make the stop for the post.
It's a tough decision here coming up from Mike Stoops. You know what? You don't want to give it back to Oklahoma State at any point in time, and would not disagree at all with going for this.
That, again, has to do something, I think, with playing against such an explosive offense in Oklahoma State. You're going to see a lot of times tonight 4-down territory for Arizona. They're going to risk it, try to stay in this football game.
There's also the question of the kicker Alex Dejas' confidence after having 2 extra points blocked.
You think?
Against Arizona State.
Yeah.
Foles on 4th down. Fires a little bit low. He was looking for Jerron Kreiner, and Foles hasn't been right on target yet. And the Wildcats will turn it over on downs.
Arizona had Oklahoma State exactly in the defense they wanted, man-to-man, a better throw. Jerron Kreiner might score at that football.
Arizona said they had to make sure Oklahoma State didn't start fast. They need a stop when you come back.
ESPN College Football, the Valero Alamo Bowl, is brought to you by Valero, the all-American gasoline, all across America. Hyundai, holiday savings, fuel economy, comfort, and joy. And Discover, it pays to discover, official card of the Bowl Championship Series.
Well, anytime you go to a bowl, the organizers roll out the red carpet, and the fans from both teams have certainly had a great time seeing scenes from a pep rally earlier this week that hosted both fans. It's sponsored by a barbecue shack that Nick Foles has said he wanted to make sure his teammates got some of that barbecue and give them a little Texas flavor and to educate some of the guys about the Lone Star State. Brandon Weeden, Blackmon is by himself. He'll take his time and score eventually. Touchdown, folks. 71 yards.
I'm not so sure Mike Goody's going to approve of the additional 50 yards running along the way there. But Robert Golden here, number 1. To come, and he's just going to miss. And he's thinking that there's a safety over the top to help. There's nobody back there. You cannot let a player with that kind of skills in Blackmon get past you without having an interruption and or somebody on top.
Extra point is good, and that was Oklahoma State's 17th touchdown drive, if you want to call it that. 60 yards or longer. That one took 12 seconds.
You see how he squatted there? Golden just squatted like he had somebody over the top.
Well,
nobody's back there.
It was a double move by Justin Blackmon, and that forced Golden to sit down and squat. He was able to get in behind him. That's now the 12th touchdown on the year for Justin Blackmon of 20 or more yards. That leads the nation. And it's interesting, guys, when you talk about Dana Holgerson's offense and these spread offenses, it's not dink and dunk and screens anymore. He's done a very good job evolving, pushing the football downfield vertically, and that's made it so much more difficult for defenses to defend.
I think the defense has forced this offense and for Dana to evolve into getting the ball vertical, because it got to a point to where this offense, when Dana used to run it, it played in a little box, and they didn't throw the ball vertical like we just saw there that often. Defenses were able to clamor up on receivers crossing the ball at the middle of the field, and it forced him to run the ball more and to evolve into throwing it deep.
You saw Holgerson a moment ago on your screen. This is his last game as the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma State. He's on his way to West Virginia, where he will call plays next year for the Mountaineers and be the head coach in waiting, and then take over for the 2012 season. Bailey's going to try a little pooch kick, and is fielded cleanly by Arizona and covered quickly by Oklahoma State. Ricky Elmore made the grab, so Arizona will have it for the second time tonight. Full throttle Capital One Bowl week. It continues on ESPN Friday. 3 games, first at noon. Plenty of defense. South Florida taking on Clemson. That'll be followed by Georgia in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl against UCF.
How about Georgia trying to avoid its first losing season in 14 years? UCF looking for its first ever bowl win. Georgia and UCF. What do you think about that?
That'll be a good one to lead into South Carolina and Florida State. Old Steve Spurrier just can't get away from the Seminoles, it seems like. Nick Foles right on target to Jerron Kreiner. Kreiner gets up near the 45-yard line.
Reese, you made the comment just a moment ago during the break that, you know, Nick Foles may be feeling a little bit of the adrenaline. He's come back home. He's played in this stadium when he was in high school. He's been here before. And you know he's got family and friends around. He wants to play impressively. He's got to settle down and give catchable balls.
Good pickup on first, a 2nd and 2. Nick Grigsby, his first carry of the night, and Grigsby very close to the first down marker. Johnny Thomas on the stop.
You know, we've seen Nick Foles now throw a couple balls low. And sometimes for a quarterback, that happens when you get a little bit front leg heavy. He's got to do a better job now in this game, sitting back on his back leg, driving off that leg so that ball comes up a little bit higher, hits his wide receivers in the numbers or the face mask.
We've talked about Oklahoma State's offense, this pass offense in the top 10 in the nation. Capable of putting up points quickly. Screen, Kreiner. Cannot make the first guy miss. That is Andrew McGee. McGee, an all Big 12 cornerback, had 5 interceptions on the year and a sure tackle in the open field.
You know what? These teams, both of them, are taught on the corners and at safety to see the screen and to get to the football. There's a lot of speed that's getting to those receivers.
McGee, a great story, broke his neck against Oklahoma last season. And for him to be able to rehab, come back, and play at the level he's played all conference, that's an incredible story.
Foles wanting to take a shot. Everything's covered up. Antolin out of the backfield, and now Antolin gets drilled by Markel Martin, but Martin's going to get flagged for leading with his head. Antolin is still on the ground after taking the shot from Martin, who is the enforcer in that Oklahoma State secondary. He's notorious for delivering hits in which he's broken some face mask, and that time perhaps went in a little too aggressively, at least in terms of leading with his head.
Yeah, it's a defenseless player there when the receiver turns around and you lead with that head, and you can see that it's obviously an area of concern that they've learned more about concussions nowadays, and they're trying to protect these defenseless players.
It was a nice job by Nick Foles buying time. He had nobody downfield.
Personal foul, number 10, unnecessary roughness on the defense. Penalty is 15 yards, automatic first down.
Nick Foles was sort of forced to float this football out to the sideline. He wants to go downfield to Kreiner. It's not there. He rolls to his left. He kind of has to float that ball over, and that allows Markel Martin to close the gap. You see him lower the head, You know, you always hear defensive coaches talking about see what you hit, keeping your head up, and that time it looked like Martin put his head down a little bit.
You know, Jesse, it's a tough deal because you're a defensive guy and you're coming up and you're full speed and the receiver's there. He's waiting. He turns into you. It's making defenders really rethink how they approach when they're coming full tilt.
No one wants to take the aggressiveness out of the game, and I think that one was the proper call by David Smith and his Conference USA crew. So Nick Grigsby checks in to spell Antolin. Foles to Kreiner. Kreiner is knocked down quickly by McGee.
Kind of one of the challenges within the game for Arizona is their all-star center, Colin Baxter, not playing, and they're going with a backup center, Kyle Quinn, tonight, number 76. Been watching him so far, doing a heck of a job, but that's such an important piece to an offense. Watch Quinn tonight, see how he does.
Baxter had started 48 consecutive games. Kreiner with another catch, and we chased out of bounds at the 25. It'll be enough for a first down. Johnny Thomas on the coverage.
I like the play calling right now from co-offensive coordinator Seth Luttrell, going to the quick game, getting the football out of Nick Foles' hands early so that Kyle Quinn at center can get established a little bit, not put too much pressure on him.
Foles to a wide open receiver in the middle. It's David Douglas, and Douglas is in the red zone. It'll be first and goal for the Wildcats.
The thing that strikes me on this is Nick Foles stepping up into the pocket, buying time, and keeping his eyes down the field. See, he avoids this. He steps up and waits and sees his check down receiver there in the middle there. It's just beautiful execution.
How about David Douglas? That's Nick Foles' roommate. Played his first 2 seasons out wide. They moved him into the slot this year, doing a nice job finding the soft spot of his zone.
He's also a Texas native back home, going to perform well. Foles firing to the back of the end zone. It's incomplete, and this is probably a good time to bring up, despite the prolific passing numbers that Arizona has put up, and despite the fact that they've scored some points, they're 110th in the country in red zone offense.
This is a throw Nick Foles will want to get back. He has his fullback Tommy Chitogi wide open in the flat. He kind of hesitated, and it was too late. That forced him to throw that football away. These windows get very small and constricted down here in the red zone.
Well, that's why, Reese, what you're talking about, they're only 75% inside the red zone. One of the worst teams in the country there, not taking the little 2- and 3-yard gain like Jesse just showed you.
Foles to Kreiner. Duran goes up, and this time they'll score it. What a catch by Kreiner, and the Cats are on the board.
That is the advantage of having a big physical receiver on the outside. Kreiner stands 6'4". He's able to use his body to shield, and it's a perfectly thrown football by Nick Foles. Puts it where only his wide receiver can make the play.
Alex Indeas on for the extra point. We mentioned the last time we saw him against Arizona State, had a couple of these blocked. This time, good height, got it out of there quickly, and Arizona has answered the quick strike from Whedon to Blackmon by a Foles to Kreiner strike. 8 plays, 63 yards. The touchdown pass to Kreiner from the 5. We're going to have some points aplenty tonight in San Antonio. Back in San Antonio, a little over 9 minutes of football and 3 touchdowns. That's the kind of offense you expect the holiday season from the Valero Alamo Bowl. The latest touchdown coming from Arizona's Duran Kreiner, which tied the school record for season touchdown catches. Mike Thomas and T. Bell, the former Steeler, holding that record along with Kreiner. Now Justin Blackmon has been rewriting the record book even tonight. 19 touchdown catches, receiving yards also in a season of 1752, and he's just 2 catches away from matching Rashawn Woods on 107 catches. Blackmon winning the Biletnikoff Trophy as the nation's best receiver, and he's put up unbelievable numbers. And Arizona will kick it away. This is Gilbert. They'll run the reverse. Joseph Randall. And he gets it out across the 45-yard line, or 35, excuse me, up to about the 37-yard line. That's where Oklahoma State will have it back. Let's take a look at our Amway positive performance.
Now this would be Justin Blackmon. Here, just get him the football, right? He's already started out hot and strong. Kendall Hunter, the great running back, only has 1 carry because of plays like Blackmon making right here. 1 and done.
But Kendall Hunter's running set up this play action opportunity for Blackmon downfield. You see why he's the Biletnikoff Award winner as the nation's outstanding wide receiver.
1st and 10 for the Cowboys. Brandon Wheaton hit it right on Josh Cooper, and Cooper ruling it incomplete. Josh was ready to take off with it, but didn't quite have that ball corralled.
It's amazing watching Brandon Wheaton throw the football. He's so natural. He's such a natural passer of the football. No wonder this guy was a pitcher in the New York Yankees organization. Big, strong, accurate. He's got it all.
And keep it on the ground with Hunter, and it'll bring up 3rd and long. Now, Wheaton in the 2002 baseball draft was the first draft pick of the New York Yankees. It was in the 2nd round with their first pick. Spent some time in the minors. 19 and 26, and ERA was a little bit over 5, but he had the big fastball. He went through 7 2/3 no-hitters and was an all-star in the New York Penn League. But after wrapping up his baseball career, his wife Melanie thought that he was just going to get his degree and go to work, and he said, hey, how about if I play a little college football? And it's worked out beautifully. But this time Brandon throws it in to a world of traffic. Joe Perkins was back there. It'll be 4th down, and Oklahoma State will have to punt it away.
You know what, just to finish up for a moment on Wheaton, I think we saw him really come of age in that Texas A&M game. The first half he was not good. They were struggling. The second half he came out was a completely different quarterback.
He's going to have to be bright tonight because Tim Kish, the defensive coordinator for Arizona, doing a nice job so far mixing up coverages.
Dan Bailey punting it away. It's a nice spiral. Douglas and a big catch on the touchdown drive. A sure-handed punt return man. Doesn't get much yardage. I think he's going to mark him just across his own 20-yard line. Now, this is the way the season went for Arizona. They started quickly. Started off 7-1, ranked as high as 15th in the nation, but then came the tough part of the schedule. Stanford destroyed them. Stephon Taylor, 4 touchdowns on the ground. USC ran for over 200 yards and beat them. A trip to Autzen Stadium didn't go any better. And then an opportunity to win the rivalry game, Territorial Cup, that we saw. A couple of block points cost them in double overtime, and as a result, Arizona now hasn't won a game since October.
Take a look at this here real quick. I mean, 3 games they lost by a field goal or less, and they were beating Oregon at halftime. They're not far off.
Foles fires for Douglas, and this time Douglas can't hang on.
But that Arizona State loss really stung. We know how much emphasis that the team placed on that, and Mike Stoops and those guys, and to lose with blocked extra points, that's just hard to swallow.
But to their credit, and talking to a lot of their players, it seemed to me like a lot of these guys got over it a lot faster than I think we would have assumed. He gave the team 3 days away. They regrouped, came back, and he says they've had the best bowl preparation the last 3 weeks they've had since he's been here.
Grigsby. Plenty of running room. And Nick has a 1st down up across the 30-yard line. Ori Lemon cuts him down. You know, Mike Stoops is trying to get that team to the next level, and building a solid running game is certainly helping.
You know, right now, Oklahoma State on this play, they just lost leverage inside out. Receiver came in and sealed it. And if you let Grigsby get a little running space, he's going to find it, and he'll run past your arms.
Grigsby's the guy 2nd in Arizona history with 28 rushing touchdowns. He's been plagued by injuries this year and hasn't had the type of senior season he had hoped, but he can finish it off on a high note tonight. Ori Lemon, who is 3rd in the nation in solo tackles, has one, greeting Grigsby.
Nick Grigsby is going to be huge tonight for Arizona. Here's a guy, Craig, you mentioned is explosive, had a high ankle sprain against UCLA. In the last 4 games of the season, only averaged 2.5 yards. This offense is completely different when he's close to healthy, and this coaching staff hopes that he's close to 100% tonight.
Yeah, they put him in the 3rd series. That was their plan. They're going to try to go with 1 back. They want to find 1 guy, though, to get lathered up and get in a rhythm.
Ball's almost intercepted by Markel Martin. Martin, who had the personal foul penalty earlier, came in and made the play on the throw from Foles.
That took a long time for Nick Foles to get through his progression. He had his receiver downfield open. I believe it was Dave Roberts in the slot, not able to get that football out on time. And that allowed Markel Martin to make a play on it and set up another 3rd and long.
Wildcats in the top 10 in the country in 3rd down conversions. But Foles not going to convert this one. Swarmed under. Hugo Chinasa, the senior from Richardson, Texas, was there first.
I think before the snap of the ball, look at the defensive line, how they're standing up. Now, for offensive linemen, they hate this because they don't know quite exactly what the stunts are going to be. It creates doubt.
Very interesting on that last defensive snap for Oklahoma State. Watch them double team Jerron Kreiner down the field. They try to bracket him. They're not going to allow him to have easy open throws on big 3rd downs.
Keenan Pryor punted away. A high, short kick. Josh Cooper signals for the fair catch, and he makes it at his own 47-yard line. Well, Oklahoma State's had a splendid season. They ripped off their first 6 wins, ranked as high as 14th. Then came a showdown with Nebraska in Stillwater. Taylor Martinez threw for 5 touchdowns and more than 300 yards. The Huskers won at 51-41. Oklahoma State went to Austin and beat the Longhorns to end a 12-year losing streak, and in a remarkable shootout in Bedlam, Oklahoma won at 47-41 to keep the Cowboys from representing the Big 12 South in the Big 12 championship game. Cooper, a little shuffle pass on the inside, and Cooper gets into Arizona territory to about the 45-yard line.
You take a look at 2 losses for this offense. They scored 41 points against Nebraska, 495 yards of offense, 41 points against Oklahoma as well. It was not the offense's fault.
I think the game, though, for me, though, was watching them against Texas A&M somehow find a way to win that game, and then going to Lubbock, where they'd not been successful, and beating the Red Raiders. Those 2 games really gave them confidence.
Whedon finds Cooper, a short game, but enough to move the sticks. It'll be 1st down for Oklahoma State.
Mike Gundy told us heading into the year he thought his team could win 7 games if they played well. It was that Texas Tech game where they hadn't won since 1944. But he finally realized, you know what? You might be pretty good.
Yeah, they jumped out like 17-0 or something. They were like, and he's thinking to himself, we may be pretty darn good here.
Well, they were picked in the preseason by most to finish 5th or maybe even last in the Big 12 South. More than exceeded expectations. Joseph Randall is inside the 40. You know, another game that really helped this team was the Kansas State game in Manhattan. That came after the 1-game suspension for Justin Blackmon. Blackmon and some friends had decided to run down to the Dallas Cowboys New York Giants game, and on the way back, Blackmon was stopped, and as a 20-year-old, he was arrested for driving under the influence. He bailed out. Gundy suspended him for a game, and they won without him. And Blackmon has it again. I saw a 71-yard touchdown from the Biletnikoff winner earlier tonight, but not much running room this time. But Blackmon says he's learned from that mistake. But the upside to it from a football standpoint for Oklahoma State was Whedon started going to different receivers. They started trusting other guys, and it made them even more diverse on offense.
And part of what I think he learned and his teammates have learned, all athletes have learned, anyone who's in the public eye has learned, you can't get away with anything. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, cell phone cameras, you're going to get busted. Nothing is a secret.
Whedon on 3rd down, lofting it up for Bowling, and Bowling makes the catch. Inside the 25, it'll be another 1st down for the Cowboys.
Brandon Whedon does a great job understanding he's got man-to-man coverage, which means he's isolated in the slot. Look at the quickness of Bowling, able to get outside, get the hips turned around at the DB. Great catch and throw.
Let me tell you what I thought about the throw. He threw a moon ball. He had to leave it up in the air to allow the receiver to get there, to get open. That's just throwing him open.
This time of darn, it is well covered. He was looking for Blackmon. It was Robert Golden knocking in the way.
You know, one of the challenges here for this Arizona defense tonight is they have one of their defensive linemen, Justin Washington, not playing. And so here's a team that studied Oklahoma's success against Oklahoma State the last ball game that used a 3-man defensive line. They were going to maybe use do some of that. Without Washington, it handcuffs them.
Now the blitz coming. You're chasing Whedon, and Brandon throws it away. Jake Fisher on the coverage. This Arizona team, 14th in the nation in sacks coming in, but it's tough to get to the quarterback in this offense.
Because the ball comes out so quickly. This team has only given up 10 sacks in 491 pass attempts. So the defensive line tonight has been taught, get your hands up early, try to knock some balls down, because they do not expect to get to Brandon Whedon often.
3rd and 10. Whedon has to get rid of it. Very fortunate was Whedon that that ball was not picked off by Anthony Wilcox, and that's a continuation of a theme that we saw against Arizona State. They had 6 balls in their hands. It could have been interceptions. The Wildcats couldn't hold.
The three of us in this booth are jumping up and down because we watched those 6 missed opportunities against Arizona State. At some point, Arizona's defense has to come up with a home run play like that.
But how about this defense? Normally we're used to seeing them get after the quarterback with only 4 players. The last 2 snaps have been big pressures. Nice job by Tim Kesh, the D coordinator.
Dan Bailey's the Lou Groza Award winner. He's 6 of 7 from 40 to 49 on the season, and now he's 7 out of 8. And Oklahoma State stretches its lead to 10. 17-7 Cowboys, and here are the dropped interceptions, Craig, you mentioned.
Well, you know what, and we're watching this ball game, and there were opportunities that Arizona's defense had. Balls tipped up in the air where you've got to go and get some of those. Tonight, one of their goals was to create turnovers. They just missed one right there.
Some of these plays we're watching right now are gimme interceptions. I mean, it's tougher in practice in the interception drill to come up with picks than it was in that football game. The thing Tim Kish told his defense, one of the main 3 keys tonight, was capitalizing on turnovers when they present themselves. They're not always going to come easy, but you're expected to make those plays.
Yeah, and also they wanted to limit the yards after the catch by Oklahoma State's receivers. They had to do a good job of tackling in space. So, you know, they're not achieving all of them, but I will say that they have done a nice job of somehow finding a way to keep Oklahoma State out of the end zone every time.
Yards after the catch, always key. You know, Lou Holtz always tells me, nobody beats you throwing and catching. They beat you by running after they catch you. That'll be key. Keep that fella, Justin Blackmon, from running after he catches it. A 71-yard touchdown. There wasn't anybody close enough to keep him from running after he caught it. So even without Quinn Sharp, the Groza winner, Dan Bailey, puts one into the end zone for a touchback. That's been the best weapon the Oklahoma State kickoff team has had this season, and with Sharp being out, having not passed the mandatory 6 hours in which to maintain his eligibility, Bailey comes in, knocked through a field goal, did a pretty good job punting, and gets himself a touchback.
You know what I think Mike Gundy has done a great job of is at Oklahoma State, when an opportunity comes up for the guy that's behind the starter to step in and play, his football team has met that challenge. They have stepped up. The next guy has done their job.
I think a lot of us wondered how Oklahoma State would respond to playing in the Alamo Bowl. They believe they should have been in the Big 12 title game playing against Nebraska. But here they are running around. They look like they're excited to be here.
This is certainly the last play of the first quarter, and it's a big play for the freshman All-American Sean Lewis. He makes a hit in the backfield, in Oklahoma State, a very productive first quarter in San Antonio, up by 10 on Arizona. About to start the second quarter in San Antonio, the Valero Alamo Bowl, Oklahoma State and Arizona. Cowboys put 17 on the board, the nation's top total offense. Certainly flexing its muscle. Pistol Pete and the fellas against the Wildcats so far. Now Nick Foles in Arizona will try to answer. First play of the second quarter will be a 2nd and 14. Cats have it on their own 16-yard line. This Oklahoma State defense, which was ranked 115th out of 120 in the country in pass defense, has done a pretty good job through the first quarter. Foles slips it to Grigsby. And sure tackle once again by Sean Lewis.
You know, guys, it's interesting. We've talked to a lot of defensive coordinators this year, in particular Nick Aliotti at Oregon. Defensive coordinators that are more prone to take chances because their offenses score a lot of points. They like to blitz guys. Bill Young at Oklahoma State, not that kind of guy. He wants to play close to the vest, does not want to send a lot of guys in pressure. He likes to keep everything in front of him, not taking a lot of chances, even though his offense averages 45 points a game.
Foles on third down. He's got the first down. The conversion and the strike. Out to Richard Morrison. Morrison making his 14th catch of the season.
Well, again, you get the loose look on the defensive line. Only 3. They're standing up, 3 rush. You got 5 across the middle, and they realize it's third and long, and Bill Young's hoping to be able to cover up. In that particular time right there, Justin Gent, the linebacker, just did not take away that outside throw.
The Foles on first down goes for Kreiner, and it's another first down. He's wrestled out of bounds by Broderick Brown.
This is a very multiple offense for Arizona. They can spread you out, throw the football. They can also put 2 running backs in the backfield and try to beat you up at the point of attack. We've seen a little bit of both tonight from the Arizona Wildcats.
I don't think they've been able to establish the run at all this season, really 135 a game, but they'd like to get a little more out of that.
Quick to Kreiner. Duran slips 1 tackle, and he's knocked out of bounds by Johnny Thomas.
And Nick Foles told us yesterday that this offense is at its best when they're up-tempo, forcing the defense to get lined up quickly. This is when he feels that this offense clicks the most.
And you know what? That's like a run right there. That's a big toss sweep, isn't it? But he threw a catchable ball, a ball that let his receiver get up the field in rhythm and on time.
2 tight ends now for the Cats. A little trickeration. Foles, the throwback special, and he's going to have to eat it. Rashedi Jones, the junior from Dallas, was back there as Foles tried to... Fighters State. 8 points.
He's enough
point. 2 turnovers. This is see, even the Grows a winner every now and then will miss an extra point. 23-7 as Foles is picked off by Martin. 62 yards he housed it. Pokes up big early. Back in San Antonio, the Valero Alamo Bowl, Oklahoma State just got a defensive touchdown, 3rd pick 6 of the season. It is 23-7. Now tonight's game track brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Pokes got started with the freshman Jeremy Smith going in for his 7th touchdown of the season.
And then you get the home run ball, 1 play, big 71-yard strike to Justin Blackmon, got behind the defense. You can't allow that to happen, and this has just been one of those deals. Now, I thought Nick Foles did a nice job of trying to get his team back in with this touchdown.
Arizona did a nice job coming back, control drive for the touchdown pass to Kreiner on this last drive. A good decision, a poor throw by Nick Foles turns into the 61-yard pick 6 by Markel Martin. And here we are, Oklahoma State up 23-7. We're barely into the 2nd quarter.
We saw that big hat. There's another one. Oklahoma State's not all hat, no cattle. Not so far. Travis Cobb returned the kickoff. Took one back 100 yards against Iowa. Won't quite do that here against Oklahoma State as we check in with Dari Noka in the studio.
Reese just catching everybody up on what we have on the family of networks over on ESPN2. Marquette and Vanderbilt. Nice non-conference matchup. College basketball-wise, Vandy leading by 3 in the 2nd half. Kansas just now starting to pull away from Texas Arlington over on ESPNU. Jayhawks up 13 and change to go in the game, trying to get to 12-0, guys.
All right, Dari. Plenty of action, football and basketball in the family of networks over the next few days. Capital One Bowl week rolls on, all of the BCS games here on ESPN, and this one a marquee matchup as well, and Arizona needs to get something going. They're going to run the reverse to Kreiner. They end around to be precise. And that didn't fool Oklahoma State either. Justin Gilbert was first.
This Oklahoma State pass defense gives up 276 yards a game. That's 6th worst in the country. But they are opportunistic. Look at the 32 turnovers. That pick by Markel Martin for the pick 6. That's 5th most in the country. Their goal is to get 3 a game. They already have 2 early in the 2nd quarter.
17th interception Arnett's among the nation's leaders as well. Foles feeling some heat from the outside. Now throwing it to Kreiner, who was down the middle and could not hold it.
What Arizona fans that are here, you hear a little bit of booing going on out there, and I know that the Arizona nation that follows the Cats right now are frustrated. This is one of those, again, a symbol of their football season. They just can't finish and make plays when they're there.
You just saw the expression on Mike Stoops' face. He knows against this type of offense at Oklahoma State, you cannot miss on opportunities like that.
Not an easy catch, but it was certainly one I think Jerron will tell you should have made. Especially a receiver of his caliber. A flag flies. Arizona may get a break if they don't get a touchdown. Complete, great grab by Richard Morrison, and Foles put it right on the money. Cobb in the backfield is struggling off as he was helping in pass protection. You check that is Grigsby. They already have Antolin hurt. Now Grigsby's coming to the sideline. I believe it's going to be offside against Oklahoma State, and if it is, it will be declined.
Just when they don't make a play.
On the defense, number 95. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
When they don't make a play, their backup center, Kyle Quinn, does a great job of snapping the ball while the defense is in the neutral zone. And then I really respected Richard Morrison running through. He sprinted through to make that play.
I think Nick Foles knew he had a free play because of the offside, so he gave his guy a chance.
Greg Nwoko is the third running back used by Stoops and his offensive staff tonight, with both Antolin and Grigsby shaken up. Greg gets a short gain, his first carry of the night.
It's so hard to win in college football with parity like it is, and the misses that we just saw earlier. Then you talk about losing an offensive lineman. Well, this has been a good offensive line. It's just little things along the way that has kept this team from winning another 2 or 3 games.
Sustaining the performance is what Mike Stoops referred to it as. He said in segments this year they played very well, and as Jesse mentioned earlier, this team's not that far away from being a 10-win team. Nwoko, not much there. He's knocked down. King Jarko was first to hit him.
After losing their final 4 regular season games, it would have been very easy for Arizona to kind of crawl into this game with their tail between their legs. But give Nick Foles and these leaders of this Arizona team a lot of credit. They've done a good job over the 3 weeks of bowl season, keeping this team, their spirits up, getting them excited to play tonight.
Well, keep excited here on this drive here. It's 2-down territory. So pick up 4 or 5 yards. Make sure it's 4th and short at least.
Folks showing blitz. Flags flying all over the place. Nick Grigsby's return, trying to help out this Conference USA officiating crew. Pointing to, I'm sure it's on them. We're down 23-7. It needs to be on them, he says.
False start. Number 55 on the offense. That penalty is 5 yards. Still third down.
But it's not. Instead, it's a false start on Conan Amituanai. Amituanai backs his team up 5. And now the hill is even greater for Arizona. Foles needs 12. They need to get it down to the Oklahoma State 30.
They've got one-on-one at the top of the screen with Jerron Kreiner.
Foles was looking that way. Now directing traffic. Throws it into a crowd, and they're giving him the catch. It's David Douglas, roomie to roomie. Right on the sideline. Good hands by the junior from McKinney, Texas.
David Douglas and Nick Foles on the same play of the scramble drill. Foles rolls out to his right. Douglas does a great job working back to his quarterback and to the sideline.
And the receiver knowing, Douglas knowing he's going to get hit from behind, but focusing on finishing the play.
Now the whistle's blowing. They want to take another look at it. But from that last replay we had,
The previous play is under further review. The ruling on the field is a completed catch.
it looked to me as if the crew on the field got it right. I thought he tapped the toe as he went down. They'll have a look at it upstairs and see if that 3rd down play will stand, which would give the Cats a 1st down. David Douglas, a tremendous effort. Arizona desperately needing to keep this drive alive, down 23-7. So Douglas makes the 13-yard grab on 3rd and 12, keeping the drive alive for Mike Stoops' offense. Arizona down 23-7. 9:52 to go. A lot of time left in the first half here at the Valero Alamo Bowl. Reese Davis, Craig James, Jesse Palmer, and Jen Brown. Glad you're joining us. Arizona tries to atone for a slow start in this game into a slow finish to their regular season. Nick Grigsby, who was dinged up earlier, gets the carry, and he's just down to about the 26.
Seeing another example of the power running game here from Arizona. And Bill Young told us the good news is Oklahoma, the last team that Oklahoma State played in the regular season, does a lot of the power running as well. They don't see so much of it in the Big 12 Conference, but that was an advantage they felt they had coming into this game.
Well, I think in this particular game right now, at this point of the ball game, it's good to get the offensive line into it, to get that running game, to keep Oklahoma State away from pinning their ears back.
They're doing that. They pin their ears back enough to get the sack. Chris Donaldson pulls down Nick Foles.
Yeah, you know what? But that's more of a coverage sack than anything else. Foles just couldn't get anything done there. He steps up in the pocket, but you know, there's nowhere to go with a football and a lot of pressure. It's a very quick Oklahoma State defensive line.
Donaldson was working against right tackle Philip Garcia there, who comes into this game with a bit of a knee injury. Bill Young told us that they were going to try to take advantage with some stunts and some games up front against this beat-up Arizona offensive line, able to get to Nick Foles there.
3rd sack of the night for the Cowboy defense. Foles gets rid of it, and it's picked off, intercepted by Johnny Thomas.
This is Foles sitting back. He sees an open receiver, but he has to now respect the speed and the makeup of that secondary at Oklahoma State. When the ball's in the air, Jesse, they're going for it.
I think we've seen Nick Foles hesitate a couple of times on throws now, and it's cost the Wildcats offense.
Foles with his 2nd interception of the night. He was trying to get it to Dave Roberts. Thomas picks it off, and the Cowboys stop the threat.
ESPN College Football, the Valero Alamo Bowl, is brought to you by the Capital One Venture Card, what's in your wallet, and Case IH, the world of farming is changing. Visit caseih.com/be ready.
Players multi-talented. They get a chance to show their skills in myriad ways during bowl week. Oklahoma State has shown plenty on both sides of the ball in the first half of the Valero Alamo Bowl, up 23-7. Nick Foles was just picked off for the 2nd time tonight. First time this season he's thrown more than 1 interception in a game. Oklahoma State, as a result, has the ball on its own 2. Kendall Hunter from his end zone. Hunter. There's a flag down in the end zone as Hunter explodes into the secondary and gets out to about the 35-yard line. But let's check and see what the flag is. I believe we're going to have an illegal shift penalty against Gundy's team. They would have gotten him out of...
Illegal shift, number 24 on the offense. That penalty is half the distance to the goal. First down.
So Hunter got him out of the shadow of their own goalpost. Let's see if we can pick it up. There it is. He's still going forward at the snap.
But that name, Kendall Hunter, you have not called much tonight. Only a couple of carries. 2 yards, minus 2 yards. It shows him on the stats board. And that guy is explosive. He can take it to the house every time he touches the ball. Great player.
Over 1,500 yards on the season. This time Whedon fakes it to him, and he's pitching it deep. Blackmon's out there. Dustin Blackmon had it in his hands, and he dropped it.
This is a great play call by Dana Holgorsen. Oftentimes when you're deep, pinned back in your own end, you get man-to-man coverage on the outside. It looks like Robert Golden actually tugged on Justin Blackmon's jersey a little bit.
They have a flag.
No, we do have the flag down across the way. I didn't see it.
That right there. Yesterday when we met with Whedon and we talked with Blackmon, and they talked about coming back, whether or not they'd come back for next season. These two guys love playing with each other, and that kind of confidence they have in each other, it shows right there on that play. I'm going to put it up there. My guy Blackmon's going to be better than your guy covering me, and I'm going to catch the football.
That's the second time tonight we've seen Brandon Weeden put a deep ball on the money. Dana Holgorsen told us he's the best deep ball thrower I've ever seen.
I want to explain to you, though, what I think also in just a moment on the next play here about what helps make him a great deep ball thrower.
And the penalty, by the way, was defensive holding, so it's 10 yards, and it's out to the 11-yard line. First down for Oklahoma State. Hunter, play fake. Weeden going to try it again. Blackmon's out there again. This time he overshot it.
What makes him a great deep ball thrower to Blackmon is that Blackmon normally goes and gets the ball. He uses his body so well. He identifies the ball in the air and adjusts as well as any receiver that you see in football. You can't go get that one.
Hey, after the back-to-back 40-yard sprints or 50-yard sprints, Justin didn't even bother. He's like, okay, I'm going to go hide over here on the bench for a minute. Get a little sip. I'll be back in a minute. Second down and 10. This time they give it to Hunter.
I gotta say, I'm impressed with Arizona's run defense so far in this game. And here's a team that in games against USC, Stanford, and Oregon gave up 811 rushing yards at the end of the season. They had a great challenge on their hands coming into this game to try to slow down Oklahoma State running the football and a first-team All-American in Kendall Hunter.
Well, the words used by the coaches in describing those last few games, we were run over, through, around, whatever they wanted to do. We had some tough going.
Well, they need to get off the field here. 3rd and 9, underneath to Blackmon. Justin trying to get away. He's knocked down by Trevin Wade. You know, he'll be stopped short of the first down.
When we show these rushing defensive numbers, I think anybody who's losing football will have numbers that reflect that. If you can't stop the run, I don't care who you are, you're more than likely going to find a losing streak.
They struggled against Stanford because Stanford just beat them up inside the hashes. They believe they're built to stop sideline-to-sideline teams like Oklahoma State.
Bailey punts it away. He's sure-handed. Douglas back there to haul it in. And he'll make the fair catch, and Arizona comes up with a stop on defense. Now they need to turn it into points in the shadow of the Alamo. Oklahoma State up by 16. I imagine what they're really saying is how glad they are to see you, Dari. They don't have to put up with me. Be back in with Mark and Lou in the studio in a couple of days. Looking forward to the rest of Capital One Bowl week and to the rest of the first half here in San Antonio. Foles quickly out to Richard Morrison. Morrison with his second catch of the night. He didn't get much here.
On the last interception that Nick Foles threw, he got greedy. He's got Dave Roberts on the right slide in the slot working a corner route. The throw has to come out right now. He tried to pump fake outside to make the corner bite up. That forced him to reload. He was late on the throw, and to make matters worse, threw the football too far inside, and that allowed Johnny Thomas to make a play on the play.
I watched his head, Jesse. He was there initially. He did not see the break in the move there. He took his head back to the middle of the field. He got away from where he was going to throw the ball. Late there. Late on the throw that Martin intercepted for the pick six. He's got to be more decisive.
Greg Nwoko on the carry for short yardage just across the 35-yard line. Or he limited Broderick Brown, stopped him.
And so if nothing else, you have to recognize and respect the closing speed of this Oklahoma State secondary. They're fast. I mean, Bill Young's got speed up front. He's got it in the backside. It's a good defense.
But there's got to be a sense of urgency now also if you're Arizona. You just pinned Oklahoma State back deep in their own end. You've gotten the football near midfield. A little bit over 5 minutes left to go in the half. You need to manufacture points right now to get back in this game.
Foles trying to dump it to Grigsby. He does. He's got a first down out close to midfield. A much needed third down conversion for the Cats.
There's your manufacturing, Jesse. I was looking for the bunt and run or, you know, hit and steal or something like that. But this is how you do it, because Nick Foles, while he gets up in the field, he just looks to his side, gets the ball in a playmaker's hand.
These running backs are great receivers.
Yeah.
The one-handed grab by Grigsby. The trio of Antolin, Grigsby, and Nwoko average almost 7.5 yards every time they catch a football. They They are all alive, every single pass play for Nick Foles.
Grigsby. Nifty move. Still can't get away, and Markel Martin is going to get his second penalty of the night. A horse collar appears to be the likely call against Martin, who's had the best and worst of times tonight. He's had a personal foul penalty and a pick six, and now apparently a horse collar tackle, it would look.
He's got to learn to play under control. I mean, you can't do these things. Your football team.
Personal foul, horse collar tackle on the defense, number 41. That penalty is 15 yards. First down.
I mean, your football team has got the opponent on the ropes, and you keep giving them opportunities. At some point, they're gonna respond, and Foles is gonna find the end zone.
How about the shiftiness by Nick Grigsby, though? I know that was only a minimal gain, but in the second half of the season, we did not see him able to run like that. He looks to me like he's pretty close to being back to full go.
Foles on first down, and Nwoko out of the backfield, and he is hit immediately. John Lewis knocked it, and Nwoko couldn't hang on. An incomplete pass.
You know what they need to do? They need to throw the ball more towards the middle of the field. Kreiner had the drop right in the middle of the field, because in the flats, Oklahoma State is coming up on the ball really quick.
That secondary, Craig, is doing a really good job watching route concepts and combinations and matching up, bracketing, playing off of guys, and attacking. That speed, it's almost palpable.
It's what?
You can touch it.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say you can almost touch it,
Come
too.
on back with me one more time, Gator man.
Nwoko pounds it down to the 30-yard line, where his shoulder pads are probably palpable to the Oklahoma State defense.
A Florida education, just a little bit. You know, I'm trying. I'll dumb it down here for you guys a little bit.
I'm representing a lot of folks now. We're all looking for that palpable.
Well, you don't have to be Nostradamus to know that Arizona certainly needs to convert on third down here. Knowles trying to beat the play clock, and the flag flies, and I see the signal for a false start.
False start, number 57 on the offense. Penalty is 5 yards till third down.
Javon Hayes came out of his stance, and Arizona will back it up 5. You see the frustration from Mike Stoops.
And we've talked about the struggles Arizona has had this year in the red zone. Well, that's one of the reasons why. Untimely penalties that drive you back and make it so much more difficult to convert when you get down in areas to score points. It's killed this football team.
Well, this Arizona offensive line respects, and they understand how fast and quick that D-line is, and they're ready to get out of their stance. They're ready to get back and ready to pass block.
Foles needs 10. Pocket collapsing. Kreiner's got it underneath. And Duran will be tackled right at the 30 by Broderick Brown. He needed to get it to the 24, so it'll bring up a fourth down. And Stoops is running his field goal unit out onto the field.
Nice job just trying to get some of that yardage back to allow your field goal kicker Zendejas to capitalize and get some points on the board here. Get this thing back within a 2-possession game.
Now, this will be a 47-yard attempt, and this is where Zendejas has been his strongest this year. 6 out of 7 in the range of 40 to 49 yards. Zendejas hits it, and he hits it wide right. So Oklahoma State's defense, with a little help from a miscue, the offensive line of Arizona forced a missed field goal, and here is what happened to Alex Zendejas in the game against Arizona State. This would have been to win the game at the end of regulation, then in double overtime to send it to a third overtime. Again, it was blocked. Now Zendejas in the pregame seemed perhaps still dealing with the confidence a little bit. They were trying to make sure he got the ball up quickly. Both kicks against Arizona State were low. And, you know, frankly, Arizona was looking at a situation tonight where they might employ a lot more 4-down territory type stuff when they got into field goal range because of Zendejas' confidence.
Absolutely, Reese, and that's what Mike Stoops told us yesterday, that he probably would go for it more on 4th down in areas like that.
Here goes Joseph Randall, another of the freshman running backs. We've seen Jeremy Smith score. Now Joseph Randall, an explosive player, has a good gain for the Cowboys, and they're on the move close to midfield.
This defense is going to lose Kendall Hunter after this football game at running back, but they feel really good about next year because of two young running backs. That guy we just saw, Joseph Randall, as well as Jeremy Smith, who scored the first touchdown.
And here's Smith again. Smith wrestling his way into Arizona territory. DeAndre Reed on the stop.
A little early to do the look ahead for next year, this Oklahoma State team, but there are a lot of players coming back. Yes, they lose the Hunter, but they've got the offensive line that all returns. This is going to be one heck of a football team.
We'll wait the decision from Justin Blackmon. He is a redshirt sophomore and eligible to enter the draft. Smith had it in his hands. And Jeremy, as he gets older, might learn to pounce on that just to make sure, but it was an incomplete pass. The whistle's coming. It'll be 3rd and 6 for Brandon Whedon.
Yeah, I think Whedon comes back next year. He needs more snaps. He's had one season. He needs to see more coverages. I think Blackmon comes back next year. Really mature, thicker.
Great job.
So just halfway. The Alamo Bowl week continues. This first bowl since 1996. The Tech State is new era pinstripe bowl for week. Available on ESPN Radio. Bill Snyder.
But I am SMU lead.
Where has been. We've seen him
good and bad
in the running game. We've seen him all over the place in the passing game, playing with great anticipation.
He anticipated too soon on that one. He got away with a pass interference.
Firing out low and complete to Douglas. Knee on the ground.
You know, it's 23-7. It feels worse because they're, you know what? You're Oklahoma State, you know, they haven't really put them away when it's felt like they were.
That's one of the reasons I think you see Arizona's Foles and try to move the chains with his feet if he can get to the line. And he took a shot at the end, and the flag's going to fly as Justin Gent came in and tried to hit Foles before he got to the first down marker. And good to see Nick, who had a knee problem earlier this year, up and walking back to the huddle. They're protecting the quarterbacks along the sidelines, and the flags came immediately from a couple of officials.
Yeah, you know what? Not only is it late, I mean, it's going down low on those legs. I just got to be smart.
Well, and again, Craig, you mentioned it earlier, playing in control. Right. That's the 3rd time tonight.
Personal foul. Late hit out of bounds. Number 42 on the defense. That penalty is 15 yards. First down.
You have to know, if you're Justin Gent, that Nick Foles is on his way out of bounds. And he's not getting any more yardage moving up forward. And it's a scary thing for Nick Foles. Because, Reese, you mentioned he'd missed 2.5 games earlier in the season with a dislocated kneecap.
You know, here's why Mike Gundy's upset, because when Gent left his feet to make the tackle, which would have been a legal tackle if he hadn't been headed out of bounds, Foles was still in bounds. And he stepped out, the foot came down, Gent was already rolling. That's why Mike's upset. It's a tough call, but the officials are working hard to try to protect defenseless players. Well, a 15-yard penalty would give Arizona the first down. It's the 3rd personal foul against the Cowboys tonight. Foles scrambling, and this time he's just going to throw it away as he was being pressured. Nigel Nicholas was back there pressuring him, so too was Bassett. Foles has had trouble finding guys open downfield.
Was that not close to being in the white paint?
Yeah.
Huh?
Getting over in that area.
Is there a rule that says you can't throw 2 flags in a row?
Well, sometimes I think the way Gent went in and cut him down, sometimes I think it looks worse than it is at times, although certainly that was a tough play the previous one. Foles again getting some pressure, and Nick fires low again. Kleiner seemed to pick it right off the carpet.
Nick Foles wasn't able to throw that last play, wasn't able to get it out of bounds before stepping out of bounds, so it counted as a sack. But guys, we've seen Oklahoma State up the field. How many times has Nick Foles had to regroup, step up, look for 2nd and 3rd receivers? It's been tough.
Back here at the Valero Alamo Bowl, Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State up 23-7 on Arizona. 43 seconds to go in the first half. Jerron Kleiner just made a grab at the 46-yard line, but the officials, a replay official Brad Smith, looking to see whether the star Arizona receiver got his hands under the ball and pulled it in and had the completion.
Yep.
I think that's a catch.
Yep.
That's another low throw from Nick Foles, but a nice job of Kreiner going down, cradling that football. I think he got his hands underneath it, brought it into his body.
You know, Jesse, on that pass rush pressure you're talking about, they're doing it with 3. Yeah. I mean, and if Bill Young is right now just saying, wow, this is outstanding. I can go with 3 and still put pressure on Foles. He's had to move. He's had to throw balls on the run.
And then it's so much harder as a quarterback looking downfield because now there's 8 guys in coverage. There's almost no windows to throw into. So Nick Foles he's earning his deal tonight. I mean, this is a tough defense to throw against, even though they came into the game again as the 6th worst pass defense in the entire country.
And they've intercepted Foles twice tonight. One of them going back for a touchdown by Markel Martin. Johnny Thomas coming up with an interception on his own 2-yard line that stopped a scoring threat from the Wildcats. And Arizona trying to get something on the board and a little momentum that they hope to be able to take into the locker room. Trailing by 16. Not only the interceptions, but also a muffed punt in the first half that set up an Oklahoma State touchdown. So the Wildcats certainly haven't played well, but they might be fortunate that they aren't farther behind.
I don't see any indisputable video evidence that would overturn that play on the field and the call.
Guys, you know, we're looking at the score, and, you know, if you're just tuning into the game, you're saying, well, it's a blowout by Oklahoma State. The problem for Arizona hasn't been effort. I think they've shown a lot of resiliency at different times so far in this first half. I think execution's been a big problem.
The botched punt return. Yeah. You know, they had stopped Oklahoma State, and then went down and scored points there. Late throws on interceptions.
Here comes the call from David Smith, our referee. Well, we thought. Remember, it has to be indisputable video evidence. If you get the clock and the yard line set, make sure everything's squared away. And here's David.
After further review, the ball made contact with the ground before the receiver had possession. Incomplete pass. Ball will be placed on the 38-yard line. 3rd down.
Wow.
Okay, so all of us thought that Jerron got his hands underneath, but the replay official did not. So a little over 3 minutes on the review as you take another look at it.
Right here, both hands under the ball.
That ball, the hands touched the football before the ball touched the turf.
I can see maybe the tip of the football hit the ground, maybe, but
maybe it doesn't fall under indisputable.
It's not indisputable. I mean, I don't know how you get a clear-cut shot on that.
That's what they ruled. The ruling on the field was a catch, and they overturn it, so it's 3rd and 14 now with 43 seconds remaining in the first half. Only 3 rushing. Foles into the seam. He's got Douglas for the first down inside the Oklahoma State 40. And now the Wildcats have a chance to get points before halftime.
Yeah, here's more towards the middle. This was the ball that they did not complete. Remember, about 2 series ago, they come up with a completion now.
Foles gets his snap quickly. Again into the middle. This one is behind his intended target, Terrence Miller. And it's incomplete. 31 ticks remain in the first half.
That last throw to convert that first down was a big league throw by Nick Foles. This defense right now in a bit of a prevent mentality. They're getting a lot of players back, dropping into areas. That ball had to come out on time. It had to be accurately delivered, and it was able to move the sticks.
Kreiner's the lone receiver at the top of your screen. Foles right through the hands of Richard Morrison, the freshman, also from the state of Texas, from Royce City, couldn't hang on.
All right, let's go back to that word that Mike Stoop used with us in these meetings. Lack of consistency. You know, we keep shooting ourselves in the foot. It's a false start. It's a drop pass. It's not doing this. It's just not consistent football.
Sense of frustration is palpable on the Wildcat sideline.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now.
Foles looking for Travis Cobb. Some contact out there, and a catch by Cobb, and a flag comes down. Now Cobb put his hands on the defensive back. He was working on Devin Hedgepeth. Let's see which way the call's going to go here as Cobb stepped in and made the grab.
Regardless, that was an unbelievable
Good catch.
It's the second time somebody on Arizona has made a one-handed stab on a ball. I think Nick Foles just took a chance on that throw, try to give his receiver an opportunity.
Pass Pass interference on the offense, number 6.
I think Mike Stoops has got something here on this because, you know, your receiver's going down the field. See who's get the hands on it. First, yeah, you know what? He did.
It's a good call.
Good call.
It's a good call.
Yep, sure enough. Grabbed him in the back of the numbers and pulled on him so he could get the inside move with his body, and Cobb was able to get to the inside because he pulled the defensive back.
You can't blame him for trying, but it was the proper call. Travis frustrated by the result of it. Arizona would have been set up in scoring position. Instead, now they're marked back at their own 46-yard line, needing 25 yards. The clock's running. Remember, the clock starts again after the ball is spotted for a penalty. And now we got 10 seconds remaining in the half. They'll keep it on the ground with Grigsby. 7 seconds, 6 seconds. Got to use a timeout to get it stopped.
Yeah, absolutely, timeout so he can throw the ball down in the end zone.
I'm not sure they got a call.
They got to call timeout.
And his mistake on the Arizona sideline. I can't imagine they were content to just let the clock run out. Well, Stoops obviously displeased with the offensive pass interference call. Clearly that was the right call, as we saw on replay. And so a frustrating first half for the Wildcats comes to an end. 23-7 Oklahoma State has the lead as we check in with Jen Brown.
Coach, what happened there on the sideline as the time ran out?
Well, we're trying to get a timeout in 1 second and try to get something in the end zone, but they didn't give us the call. But too many mistakes against a good football team, too many turnovers, missed some scoring opportunities, but defense is fighting, and you know we got to take the opening kickoff and get some points here at the beginning of the second half.
You talk about defense. Justin Blackmon has almost 100 yards and 1 touchdown. How do you contain him in the second half?
Well, he's hard to single coverage, and they run the ball effectively. So we blew 1 coverage where we were trying to roll over the top of them, but it was a mental error in the secondary. But we just got to play fundamentals better. But overall, the defense has given us a chance. Turnovers have been a problem.
All right, thanks, Coach. Reese?
All right, Jen. Stoops Cats will get it first in the second half, and as he said, they need to put some points on the board because as it stands, they're down 23-7. Here is the result of that mental error that Stoops was talking about. Justin Blackmon going 71 yards. Now let's join Dari Noka, Mark May, and Lou Holtz for the H&R Block halftime report. Take it away, Dari.
All right, Reese, we'll see you in a little bit. I'm seeing Mike Stoops take.
You're watching ESPN's presentation of Capital One Bowl Week.
Just about set to start the third quarter from San Antonio, the Valero Alamo Bowl. First half, not necessarily dominated in every facet by Oklahoma State, but certainly dominated on the scoreboard. The Cowboys up on Arizona 23-7 as we get set to start the third quarter. Reese Davis, Craig James, Jesse Palmer, Jen Brown working the sideline. You know, guys, Arizona actually outgained Oklahoma State in the first half. They took 6 of their 7 possessions into Cowboy territory, but only 7 points thanks to miscues and turnovers, Craig.
2-1 in time of possession. Arizona kept the ball away from Oklahoma State. Now Arizona has to come out and find a way to get points on this opening possession. When they get the football, go down the field. They've got to stop shooting themselves in the foot. They've got to play football, relax, go out and finish off opportunities when they come your way.
On the flip side, very impressed with Oklahoma State, their mindset coming into this football game. They had a heartbreaking loss the last game of the regular season against their in-state rival Oklahoma. They look like they're excited to be playing in this football game. They're flying around on defense. They had 2 interceptions. They recovered a fumbled punt. Justin Blackmon already has 95 receiving yards. This, to me, looks like a team that's trying to do something for the first time. They're trying for an 11th win. That'd be the first time in school history they've ever done that. They are playing inspired football.
And if Blackmon can get 5 more yards receiving in the second half, he'll be the first guy to have a touchdown and 100 yards receiving in 12 consecutive games. He's currently tied with Aaron Turner, the former Pacific receiver, with 11 straight such games. Second half underway, and it is Cobb on the return for the Wildcats. A little bit of running room, and he's knocked down just across the 30-yard line as we take a look at our expert breakdown brought to you by Farmers Insurance.
Arizona's not going to get in this game until they can somehow control the defensive line of Oklahoma State. A 3-man rush most of the time, putting all the pressure in there. Then you're throwing into 8-man coverage. It's just not been a well-orchestrated blocking scheme up front.
Oklahoma State has registered 4 sacks on Nick Foles, and that's forced Nick Foles to play out of rhythm. He hasn't been extremely accurate. He needs to play faster, both physically and mentally, because there are big plays to be had.
First play of the second half from scrimmage for Arizona. They keep it on the ground with Nick Grigsby. Last year in the Holiday Bowl, Arizona was blistered by Nebraska 33-0. In that game, he was only 9 of 30, didn't throw for 50 yards, and didn't have a touchdown. Performance has been somewhat better tonight. The 2 interceptions obviously marring his performance in the first half.
Yeah, and Mike Stoops was even talking to us 3 weeks ago about that game and how they didn't show up and that they would be ready in this game. They just haven't executed tonight.
Greg Nwoko, he was hit immediately by Sean Lewis. And you haven't seen much of Sean Lewis this year. He's a freshman All-American. He is going to be a star at linebacker, a guy that defensive coordinator Bill Young is very high on.
Co-Big 12 freshman defensive player of the year. But what Bill Young loves is that during bowl week, the 3 weeks of preparation, he's already started to become a vocal leader on this defense and on this team. He's going to be a guy that this defense rallies around for years to come in Stillwater.
It's early in the second half, but this would seem to be a rather important 3rd down for Arizona. Try to build some momentum. And another mistake. Philip Garcia might have moved early, the right tackle.
False start, number 67 on the offense. Penalty is 5 yards, still 3rd down.
Penalties have killed this football team. They're averaging 7 per game. It's 95th in the country, but it's the most penalized team Mike Stoops has coached here at Arizona in 7 years.
And it's the timeliness of them. I mean, you know, it's like they've had 3 of those kind of calls right there where you're 3rd and manageable, and all of a sudden you back it up and it's 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 10 or 12.
Oklahoma State on the season hasn't been great on 3rd down defense, 97th in the country, but Arizona's had a tough time tonight. Foles firing into traffic, and a big hit delivered by Johnny Thomas, and now the flag's going to come in, and that is likely going to be the 4th personal foul penalty against Oklahoma State tonight.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, he went into the body of the receiver, ball over his head, defenseless player here.
I think for the most part, guys, the referees have done a good job of helping these defensive players in this game. You know, when I saw it live, I didn't think that football was very catchable. From that angle, I don't know. I mean, the receiver certainly gives up on it, but again, if you're Johnny Thomas, you're defenseless. You got to pull off.
There is no foul on the play for a contact above the shoulder. Incomplete pass.
Okay, so the officials got together, talked it over, and decided to wave off the flag. That's David Smith of our Conference USA crew. And it's a tough thing because officials want to err on the side of player safety. And now Mike Stoops, who was very unhappy with the officials at the end of the first half, although the replay showed he really didn't have reason to be on the offensive pass interference call that went against Arizona. He is more than displeased with the guys in stripes picking up that flag. Frustration starting to show for the Wildcats. Keenan Cryer will punt it away. He gets off a good one. It's going to drive Josh Cooper inside his 20. He is wrestled to the ground almost immediately by Cobb. Capital One Bowl Week continues Thursday night on ESPN, 6:40 Eastern Time. TJ Yates in North Carolina taking on Tennessee as Derek Dooley gets his team to the postseason in his first year at the helm of the Vols. And then a rematch of a regular season game between Washington and Nebraska in the Bridgepoint Education Holiday Bowl. Both games available online, ESPN3.com, and your phone. You see the quarterback matchup.
Jake Locker was only 4 for 20 with 2 interceptions thrown. He had a 3rd interception taken back for a touchdown that got called back in that first meeting against Nebraska. He'll have to play much better the second time around.
Yeah, will Nebraska be ready to play in this game? That's the question.
The draw, Hunter. And Hunter in the first half, negative yards running. This from the nation's 8th leading rusher. Guys averaging nearly 6 yards per carry, went over 1,500 yards, led the Big 12. He has been unable to get anything going on the ground tonight against the Wildcats.
Maybe I jinxed him. We were walking out with him through the tunnel in the game. I said, hey, Kendall Hunter, you're going to have 300 tonight? And he had a great smile and a laugh to him. Just tell him to give you the football.
Giving it to him 4 times. They've lost 3 yards. Whedon fires it right into the hands of Bo Bowling. He can't hang on as we check in with Jen Brown.
I talked to Mike Gundy coming out at the half, and he said his biggest concern was on offense. He doesn't feel like they're getting into any sort of a rhythm. He did point out that they could definitely improve on 3rd down conversions where they're just 2 of 7. And right now we can see if they do that right here on this play.
Yeah, you know what? And it's hard to get a real rhythm when you only have the ball 10 minutes in that first half. Just didn't have it that often.
Had a 1-play touchdown drive, an interception for a touchdown that kept the offense off the field. Whedon steps up in the face of pressure, and this time Bowling makes a nice grab. He'll be knocked down short of the first down. Trevin Wade on the coverage. Now, Justin Blackmon's drawing a lot of attention here from Arizona. That's a big-time hit from Adam Holland. Did that fall into your jurisdiction on the previous play of a cheap shot?
Absolutely. How'd they get away with that? That's crazy.
So you've seen some personal fouls go the other way, but the officials obviously didn't have their eyes trained on that one as Blackmon came across the middle.
You know what? It's not a blow to the head. It's beneath the head, but I mean, still, that's a cheap shot.
So it'll be 4th down and 3. Arizona will get it back, trying to get back into the game. We come back to San Antonio. You can see both games on ESPN3.com on your phone or available on ESPN Radio as well. Dan Bailey doing the punting tonight for Oklahoma State. David Douglas comes racing up to the 40, makes the fair catch. So Arizona will have very good field position. An opportunity to try to get back into the game, down 16 after the 29-yard punt. Remember, Bailey, normally a place kicker, filling in for Quinn Sharp, an All-American punter who is ruled academically ineligible. On New Year's Day, this is what we have for you on the family of networks. We'll start with the Ticket City Bowl, Northwestern and Texas Tech on ESPNU. Florida and Penn State, and I don't say this lightly, but the longevity of Joe Paterno, he's outlasting Urban Meyer. It's really amazing. You see some of the other games, Progressive Gator Bowl. Craig, I know you'll be there for Mississippi State and Michigan on ESPN2.
Yep, look forward to watching that ball game.
Nick Grigsby, a good gain on 1st down. He's going to pick up about 8.
This defense has to be very conditioned. When you play for an offense that's as explosive as Oklahoma State, they either score very quickly or they go 3 and out and they're off the field. And defensive coordinator Bill Young told us that was one of the problems. They have to substitute a lot of guys, and it's no different tonight. They've only held the football for just under 12 minutes. This defense, they're tired. They played a lot of snaps.
Now, and just like that last run there by Grigsby, it just takes one explosive play to get Arizona back into the game.
Quick out to Douglas. 1st down and more. Douglas inside the 40. Corey Lemon raced him down, and they'll mark him down just inside the 30-yard line, and the Wildcats are threatening.
Jerron Kreiner at wide receiver makes this play go. Watch him get a block on true freshman Jonathan McKnight. He's able to just tangle him up. And that allows the player to get back in the backfield. Sorry, that was Andrew McGee that he got blocked. But just great job on the perimeter of the field, allowing Douglas to make some yardage after the catch in the slot position.
Quickly this time to Kreiner. Made a block, this time gets the ball, but a minimal gain. Roderick Brown was the first to hit him, coming over to help with Jen.
Yeah, this goes back to that point where we talked about in the first half that Arizona's a lot better when they have rhythm and when there's a tempo, right? You know, you get up there and you snap it and it's going, it's moving.
You're not allowing the defense to substitute. You can't make a lot of different calls. You can almost control and predict what certain coverages they play, a lot more predictable.
Arizona has now run 23 more plays in Oklahoma State, and it's going to be 3rd and long.
You got to trust your speed on that you're faster than the end man on the line of scrimmage. Grigsby's got to stay to the outside. He can outrun containment there. And I know Jamie Blacknick, number 50, he's a good player, and he had contained, and he can run, but he can't run with Grigsby.
Well, that's Johnny Thomas, who's down for Oklahoma State, starting safety, the junior from Texas City, Texas, who had an interception in the first half against Nick Foles to stop an Arizona scoring threat.
You know, it's interesting. There's a lot of familiarity in this football game amongst coaches. And Seth Luttrell, the co-offensive coordinator for Arizona, coached with Oklahoma State Bill Young for 3 years at Kansas. We're seeing this kind of cat and mouse game between these two coaches, very familiar with each other and their styles, going back and forth in this game.
Yeah, and I think Seth even said that he was there one time when Young was a coach and he was a player.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Luttrell played at Oklahoma. But, man, Bill Young is a heck of a defensive coordinator. He's been around a lot of football. When he came here, he has really turned the attitude from let's hope we do well to really let's play well and make plays.
And one of his guys who's been making plays tonight and pretty much all year for him, Johnny Thomas, is on his feet and headed to the sideline. You know, those coaching ties extend in all different directions. Several of the guys versed in the Texas Tech system. Even Dana Holgorsen and Arizona's co-offensive coordinator, Bill Biedenbaugh, they were college teammates at Iowa Wesleyan. So familiarity runs very deep in some quarters on the coaching staff.
Holgorsen also coached with Seth Luttrell at Texas Tech. He also coached with Arizona's wide receiver coach, Dave Nickel, at Texas Tech.
Foles setting up the screen to Grigsby. And Nick stays on his feet to get down to close to the 25. Broderick Brown knocks him down. They're marking between the 25 and 26, and that first down stick is right on the 20. So they'll bring up a fourth down, and Alex Zendejas, who missed earlier tonight, will come on to try a field goal for the second time. Zendejas, after the miss earlier, 13 of 17. He missed from 47. This one's from 42. Zendejas puts it up, and he puts it through. And Arizona cuts the lead to 13 as Mike Stoops' team gets on the board first in the second half, 23-10 when you come back to San Antonio.
ESPN College Football, the Valero Alamo Bowl, is brought to you by the Touchdown Big Box, only at Taco Bell. Interstate Batteries, preferred 5-to-1 by auto technicians. Find your local dealer at interstatebatteries.com. And Nissan's year-end sales event. For holiday offers, visit choosenissan.com or your local dealer.
Back here in San Antonio, driving downtown area. Really a night that a lot of people inside the Alamo Dome go out maybe after the game and take a little carriage ride, enjoy the sights.
Yeah.
Right now, the Oklahoma, not you guys.
No, Jesse, I can see Jesse in a carriage ride.
Yeah, maybe so.
Parked outside.
Yeah.
The Oklahoma State fans at the moment would be in better moods for such activities. Arizona just got a field goal to cut it to 23-10. Cats will kick it away. It'll be the freshman Justin Gilbert. Gilbert, who last year was a 100-meter sprint champion in high school in Texas, gets it out close to the 30. He's stopped by Jake Fisher. So now we'll have another look at this Oklahoma State offense guided by Dana Holgorsen. He's in his final game as the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. He'll move on to West Virginia next year and be the offensive coordinator there for a year before taking over for Bill Stewart as the head coach in 2012. What was your reaction to the arrangement and the ways that they're handling the transition in Morgantown?
I think this will work only because Bill Stewart is a West Virginia guy who loves his university and is going to do whatever he has to do to make sure that his personal interests don't interfere with the transition of this deal.
Personal interest of Josh Cooper is picking up a first down on the end around. First carry of the night, he's going to hobble off the field, a 15-yard run for the wide receiver.
It's amazing watching this offense, how they're able to get to different types of plays that are just extensions of the run game, whether it's swing passes, screens, reverses the wide receivers. Truly multiple, finding different ways to get guys the ball in space.
Actually, Cooper wanted to get off the field. They couldn't because they're going to a quick tempo. And now the best run of the night for Kendall Hunter. 2 running plays, 2 first downs in this Oklahoma State offense, which hasn't scored since the first quarter, has back-to-back 15-yard runs, and they're in cat territory.
It's just a matter of time. If you run the football, if you give the ball to Kendall Hunter, he will find a way to get 100 yards. The guy is outstanding.
And again, a little shuffle. They ran this earlier to Tracy Moore. Moore is inside the 35-yard line. Anthony Wilcox on the stop.
It's just fun to watch. We don't see those types of plays each and every week. Dana Holgorsen finding different ways to get different players involved.
And you know what you notice? And you know what you notice also? He feels that he has his foot on the throat of Arizona defense right now. He's getting them to the line of scrimmage, and they're snapping the ball.
There's Jeremy Smith, who had a touchdown run, the first one of the night. He gets down to the 30. That'll be enough for another Hope first down.
It's a big offensive line for Oklahoma State. They average 309 pounds per person. They actually outweigh the Arizona defensive line by an average of 36 pounds per player. So you expect them to be able to come off the ball and drive Arizona back a little bit.
Inverted wishbone look. Play fake. Whedon fires right on the money, and it is caught by Blackmon.
Now, see, Reese, this is the difference in Brandon Whedon when we saw him against A&M and now. When he steps up and makes that throw, you see how hard and firm the ball was on time. That Nick Foles hasn't made this throw. It was picked. You know, the ball's coming, and there right now.
Hunter is knocked down, and by the way, with that last catch, Blackmon goes over 100 yards. He had a touchdown earlier in the night. 12 consecutive games he's played with at least 100 yards and a touchdown. That is an NCAA record. What a marvelous season this redshirt sophomore receiver's had. Throwing to the end zone to Blackmon. It's knocked away. Robert Golden on the coverage.
This is a ball that Justin Blackmon comes down with 10 out of 10 times. You know, I'm watching Brandon Whedon, and guys, earlier in the season.
How about 9 out of 10?
9.5 out of 10. 9.5 here.
Help me with my math.
But earlier in the season, we were watching Brandon Whedon throw balls, and he was very lazy with his legs at times. Mike Gundy said that was a problem with him throwing it. Watching him tonight, he is in rhythm. The ball is coming out beautifully. He comes down to 10 times out of 10. That means he catches it every time.
Josh Cooper does catch this when he's got a first down. It is first and goal for Oklahoma State. This is a momentum crunching drive for Oklahoma State because Arizona missed a chance to get a touchdown with the field goal. You get a stop, things are better. Now could be in some trouble. Hunter has it. Kendall is wrapped up, keeps the legs churning to drive it just inside the 5. It'll be second and goal.
And that's what I think is so impressive about Dana Holgorsen, is he understands the feel of a game and how to make the calls. He doesn't just go out throwing the ball. He's got his running game going.
And he calls plays from the sideline. How many offensive coordinators do you see up in the booth so they can watch the all-22 and see everybody running around? He's there on the sideline with a great feel, like you say, Craig. It's truly remarkable to me when coaches can do that.
The give again to Smith. Smith was looking for his second touchdown of the night, tried to cut it back up in there. He was stopped by Sione Tuialamaka.
Yeah, that's why.
I think people have the perception that this is a pass-happy offense, where in reality, it's very close to 50-50 throwing and running here at Oklahoma State.
Which is why I think they're 95% in the red zone.
Yeah.
If they can get down there, they can run the football.
But on third and goal, they'll throw it, and he's throwing for Blackmon. Touchdown!
This just isn't supposed to be as easy as pitch and catch. This is chemistry between a quarterback and receiver, back shoulder throw, going back, and those hands and the strength to reach out and catch. With the left toe was in there.
Yeah. The toe apparently touched out. Golden wanted the incomplete. Excellent. Excellent.
Man,
oh, my goodness.
You know how strong those hands are? That's unbelievable.
You know, Holgorsen was telling us before the game that everybody thinks that Blackmon's a huge guy, 6'4" or so, because he looks so big and dominant on the field. He's only about 6'1", with remarkable strength, the football speed. He has his second touchdown of the night on an NFL-level grab in the end zone. Just like that, Oklahoma State answers the Wildcat field goal with another Blackmon touchdown, and it's 30-10 Cowboys. There's the connection. Twice hooked up for touchdowns tonight. Brandon Weeden and Justin Blackmon, Oklahoma State, up 30-10.
On this touchdown pass, Brandon Weeden is told to aim for the #1 on the back of Blackmon's jersey. That's exactly where he throws it. It's a perfectly thrown ball where only Justin Blackmon can make the play. Those back shoulder throws and catches, very, very tough to do unless both guys are on the same page.
This is what Blackmon has done this season. 12 straight games with 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. Set a sophomore record, breaking the one held by Pittsburgh legend Larry Fitzgerald with over 1,700 yards receiving. And Justin still deciding whether he'll return to Stillwater next year. He redshirted his freshman year, eligible to enter the draft if he so chooses. The kickoff comes down to Travis Cobb. The Wildcats need to get busy in a hurry. Cobb gets up across the 30 and close to the 35. Well, looking ahead at the Capital One Bowl on January 1st, this is a near BCS level matchup. Alabama and Michigan State. Michigan State, one of the 3 champions in the Big Ten, but the one left out of the BCS game.
This is a BCS caliber matchup to me. BCS bowl game caliber. 2 teams I think are very, very similar. Both like to run the football. Both quarterbacks take care of the football. Both play very physical defense. I can't wait for this one.
Now, Mark D'Antonio coached for Nick Saban before. The Saban coaching tree starting to extend in a lot of different directions. You don't think of D'Antonio all the time, but those 2 guys have had a good relationship over the years. Nick Foles firing, and it's intercepted for the 3rd time tonight. It is James Thomas with the pick, and Oklahoma State has a chance to put their boot to the throat right now as the Wildcats turn it over again. 4th turnover on the night for Mike Stoops' team.
I think Nick Foles here, he's trying to force the ball in there. The safety's going to come over the top, and we'll try to show you what he sees, because early on the receiver's there, right? And right in past here, okay, now you got to hold on to it. The safety's going to come over, and it forced a hard, low trajectory throw trying to beat that.
Craig, the throw was late again. He has his receiver open in the slot early. If the ball is thrown on time, that's a big completion. He has not been playing on schedule tonight, and it's cost Arizona.
Again, that shuffle pass, Cooper, and he's knocked down by Paul Vassallo.
But you know what? I know he's trying to make a play. It's there. He's just tardy with the throw. Safety's there to make him have to change his trajectory. I mean, it's, you know, it just has not been a night that has been good for Arizona, and the points off the turnovers themselves are deflating.
We've stopped a couple of drives. We'll see if this turnover results in points for the Cowboys. They've scored 2 touchdowns off them earlier. Weeden to Cooper. Cooper gets close to the 1st down marker before he's stopped by Joe Perkins.
You know, guys, Mike Gundy came into this season 0-10 all-time against Texas and Oklahoma, and he made the decision this year to stop calling plays, to bring in Dana Holgorsen, because he felt his style of offense gave his team the best chance to compete against the heavyweights of the Big 12 Conference. And it was a great decision.
And on 3rd down, Weeden to throw for the 1st down, and he fires wide of Blackmon. It'll be 4th down.
You know, and you know, to follow up on that Mike Gundy deal, what a bold move by Mike Gundy to bring Holgorsen in. It takes a lot of courage if you're a head football coach to say, look, I'm going to let a guy come in here, turn it over. I don't really understand what he's calling out there, why he's even calling it, but I'm going to trust him, and I'm going to help be the CEO of this football team.
On 4th down, first it looked as if Oklahoma State was going to run the punt team out. The offense came out, so Arizona uses a timeout.
But it was a very selfless move by Mike Gundy, and he put his ego aside. And he told us that he's loved his new role as a head coach. He's spending more time in practice now with the defense, with the offensive scout team. It's allowed him to focus more on recruiting, fundraising. There were times in the past where we'd watch Mike Gundy in games when the defense was on the field. He's over on the sideline drawing up a new play. He had no clue what was going on the sideline. He loves this new role that he's in. He's told us it's the most fun he's had as a head coach at Oklahoma State.
The role of a head coach has changed in college football. It now is about recruiting. It's about handshakes. It's raising money. If you don't have athletes at your program, you're not going to win. If you don't have money at your program, you're not going to win. And I think that's what a CEO of what Mac Brown has done. It's what now Mike Gundy is doing at Oklahoma State.
Look what he's been able to do, particularly in conference right here. Each and every year, there's been marked improvement. Mike Gundy has been able to build this Oklahoma State football team. 3 straight seasons now, they've had at least 9 wins. That's a school record. This is their 5th straight bowl game. That's a school record. Mike Gundy has brought Oklahoma State closer and closer to prominence.
On 4th down, Whedon trying to get it out quickly. He'll throw it to Jeremy Smith underneath, and the Wildcats make a stop. And there's a flag down on the field. If Oklahoma State can hold this lead for the next 19 minutes and 7 seconds of game time, they'll have their school record 11th victory. Arizona came up with the stop, but Mike Stoops does not appear pleased with the call. Once again, Mike's had some frustration tonight in many facets. David Smith of our Conference USA officiating crew sorting it out. Offense is remaining on the field for Oklahoma State right now.
We mentioned earlier the untimely penalties that have plagued Arizona all season long. Doesn't get too much more untimely than this.
Personal foul, face mask, number 40 on the defense. That penalty is 15 yards, first down.
Well, we didn't catch that one. Derek Earls was called for the face mask, but one would think that on a play like that, that a face mask would be a totally unnecessary penalty.
Unnecessary away from the play that you're talking about there. And Arizona's defense, they have a stop on the field and have a mistake. And the timeliness that, Jesse, I mean, that just drives a coach crazy. It drives the fans crazy.
So it's a 1st and 10 after the 15-yard penalty for the Pokes. Draw to Randall. He's going to be wrestled down by Vassallo. And to clarify what I meant by unnecessary, there are times you never like to see a face mask, but if a guy's making a tackle, hand gets caught in the face mask, you can understand that. When it's in the secondary, your other guys are chasing the quarterback, that's a little tougher to stomach. Whedon firing for Blackmon, and there to break it up immediately is Robert Golden. Golden's had a pretty solid effort tonight in the secondary for the Cats.
This game all of a sudden getting very chippy between these two teams. You can see the tempers starting to flare up a little bit. We've already seen a couple different personal foul penalties on both sides of the ball. Composure is going to be very key here in the second half.
And one that should have been called against Adam Hall of Arizona when he decleated Justin Blackmon.
How about chippy this afternoon between Maryland and East Carolina? Huh? Maryland football team wanted to put 50 up as a present, farewell present for Ralph Region.
On 3rd and 9, Whedon firing to the end zone. He's got his man. Touchdown, Oklahoma State. Michael Harrison with the grab.
There's a great example of that beautiful long deep pass that Dana Holgorsen talks about that Whedon throws so well. Drive hard, separation, ball in the air. What a well-thrown football.
There's different players that can make plays on the perimeter of the field. It's not just Justin Blackmon. It's not just Josh Cooper. Michael Harrison gets the mismatch opportunity that Brandon Whedon finds in the pre-snap read. He knows he has press man-to-man coverage.
They're going to take a look at the touchdown grab by Harrison. Arizona fans perhaps hoping against hope that one will go their way. Rolling on the field is touchdown. Got to make sure that you got a foot down in bounds and then control the ball. When you make a catch in the end zone, you have to finish the catch. It appeared that Harrison did that.
Oh, yeah.
Knees down.
Yeah.
Has he still got the ball?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yep.
touchdown.
Yep, touchdown.
Yep.
Of course, we thought a while ago that was a catch.
That's true.
Yep.
There is a little movement, but it appears to be after he had
How about Harrison's
hit down on
ability?
his back.
How about his ability to jump up? You know, receiver coaches always talk to their receivers about high pointing the football, trying to attack the ball at its highest point, make contact with it. Great competitive spirit there. Go up and fight for it. Bring it in.
Wait on the call. Michael Harrison to get his 4th touchdown catch of the year. Harrison, the group of receivers coached by wide receiver coach Gunter Brewer of Oklahoma State. Gunter just last week lost his mother Kay. Name's familiar. Gunter's the son of Billy Brewer, the longtime Ole Miss head coach. Extend our condolences to the Brewer family. There is Gunter. visiting with Harrison after what we believe will be touchdown catch. Gunter's mother, Kay, in addition to being an avid football fan and a coach's wife, and you know the sacrifices that come with that, she gave up an acting career to be with Billy and to follow his coaching career. And at one time during a summer stock theater in Colorado, she actually acted with Dustin Hoffman.
Wow.
So a big loss for the Brewer family. Difficult at this time of year or any time of year, frankly. And we send our best wishes to all of them and their fond remembrances of their mom.
He's doing a heck of a job coaching this unit out there. And Harrison, a freshman. And should Blackmon decide to go to the NFL, other guys have to step up. Des Bryant left. Who stepped up? Blackmon.
It's funny we talk about Justin Blackmon. Here's a guy that had 260 yards as a freshman a year ago. And he was telling anybody that would listen this year that this was going to be his breakout season. His goal this year was to have 50 catches and 1,000 yards. And I think he achieved that by the 6th game of the season.
He's just about doubled that. He has doubled the catch total. The yardage, he's well over 1,700 yards now.
But I mean, you know, his problem is his math is way off. 50 catches, 1,000 yards. You want a 20 yards a pop?
Apparently the DVR, the replay booth is stuck or something.
After further review, the receiver did not have possession before going out of bounds. The pass is incomplete. Ball will be placed on the 33-yard line.
You saw it rolling there.
Okay, I guess here's the little bobble they're talking about. But I wasn't so sure that he bobbled the ball as much as his arm was just moving across it. The one hand still seemed to have it firmly in control.
Indisputable video evidence, right? The call on the field is touchdown. And, I mean, unless from any of those angles, does it look definitive that that ball touched the ground?
I think right there.
Oh, well, okay. Now maybe
from that angle.
Okay. Yeah, if the ball's hitting the ground right there, because when you go to the ground and go out of bounds, you have to complete the catch. It's a little bit different standard than maybe you'd have out on the field of play. So Harrison thought he had his 4th touchdown catch of the season. Instead, they've got a 4th and 9, and Oklahoma State will trot out the Lou Groza Award winner, Dan Bailey, to try one from 50 yards out. His long this season is 52. Perfect conditions to kick inside. Bailey will try to knock one through with those orange shoes. It's on the way, and it is good. A 50-yard field goal from the Groza winner, and Oklahoma State extends its lead back to 23. Jen, what is the deal with those neon-colored shoes for Bailey?
Well, Reese, that's exactly what I asked him, as we all cannot help but notice those orange shoes when I saw him this week. I said, what's the deal? He said, you know, I wanted to get shoes to match my uniform, so I went online and I ordered them. But unfortunately, the oranges didn't match, so he seemed a little bit embarrassed. But I have to say, being the Lou Groza Award winner for the best kicker in the nation, they may have brought him some good luck.
He told everybody yesterday at the luncheon in the banquet that he actually ordered those shoes. He didn't think they were orange. He thought they were a different color. So he tried to kind of get his back on that. Craig, I think you should get a pair of orange cowboy boots.
You haven't seen them? Come on down, come see me.
I don't know if our cameras have the capability of doing this, but what I'd like to see is Bailey's shoes and Jesse's socks. Now, you probably haven't seen Jesse's socks, but they look like something the Cat in the Hat wears.
And Pistol Pete's not wearing them.
No, he's not.
Might make people dizzy.
you with those socks, man. You walking around.
I'm just trying to keep you awake. I'm trying to listen. It's late tonight. You're getting tired. You need to wake up. Just look down.
33-10. Bailey's kickoff drives Cobb into the end zone. He's going to bring it out. Cobb trying to turn the corner. Good return. It's him out close to the 30-yard line. Capital One Bowl Week continues on ABC, ESPN, ESPN2. New Year's Day with the SEC Big Ten New Year's Day resolution. 1 o'clock, Florida and Urban Meyer in his final game as head coach of the Gators, taking on Penn State. That's on ABC. Same time, Alabama and Michigan State in the Capital One Bowl. That's on ESPN HD, and on ESPN2 in the Progressive Gator Bowl, Mississippi State taking on Michigan. All 3 games can be seen online at ESPN3.com.
The Michigan game, I think all the coaches in this country are watching and waiting to see what happens with Coach Rich Rod. There's speculation there about his dismissal, if you will. And so that's, I mean, that game right there, that could be, if that were to happen, that domino would create a big effect.
You know, and it's one of the things that filling the Maryland job and other jobs that might come open depending on what happens in the NFL with other coaches that might move. One of the reasons that Mike Gundy told us that he's waiting to hire an offensive coordinator until after some of the movement is shaken out. And Foles on second down. Underneath, hits his roommate, Douglas, for the first down.
Well, to your point, there are teams right now in the SEC that are paying coordinators over $1 million. Gus Malzahn's going to make $1.3 million next year as an offensive coordinator. What Mike Gundy does not want to do is rush out, hire guys as offensive coordinator, then all of a sudden have a place like Florida turn around, offer more money, pluck that coordinator, and now Mike Gundy has to restart the hiring process again.
Grigsby on the ground. And the other aspect to Gundy's impending decision to hire an offensive coordinator is that he wants to keep a similar system to the one that Dana Holgorsen has brought in. Now, Gundy, in a conscious effort to remove himself from play calling, said he didn't want to stick his 2 cents worth in, and Mike's a very good offensive mind. Let Holgorsen run it. So that, in some ways anyway, limits the pool a little bit of the guys that he's going to try to hire from, one would think, if he wants to keep this type of system. Grigsby bobbled the ball briefly. It's across the 45-yard line as we head down toward 90 seconds to go in the third quarter.
Boy, but you know, college football, what a business. I mean, you're sitting there, Rich Rod at Michigan, he now has his offense in place. Defense is terrible. It is what it is. They got to change up. They're not winning conference games. It's a problem there. But, you know, Rich Rodriguez is a good football coach. No question. There is zero question about that. And so is the grass greener in the other pasture? I mean, all of these athletic directors are now trying to fill seats, sell suites. It got Ralph Friedgen the ACC Coach of the Year.
Foles on third down. Nick faked it, and going to take a pretty big hit. James Thomas had an interception earlier. Jamie Biletnikoff also in on the tackle. Foles did a good job. A little bit better athlete than you might think. Doesn't run it often, but runs it effectively to get the first down.
Something co-offensive coordinator Seth Luttrell told us a few weeks back he wanted Nick Foles to do more of. Not be afraid to tuck the football and go run. Even if it's only 3 to 5, 7 yards, keep a defense honest.
Foles. Pump and go, throwing deep. It's out there and fighting for the ball, and breaking it up is Andrew McGee. Foles was looking for Douglas again.
Well, talking about Dana Holgorsen and that brand of football, remember back in 2007, Mike Stoops brought in Sonny Dykes, Texas Tech, come in and run a version of that style of offense that, of course, he had run at Texas Tech. So what Nick Foles is running, this type of system under co-offensive coordinators Bill Bedenbaugh and Seth Luttrell, very similar to what Dana Holgorsen does in its principal concepts.
Dana having a beverage while his offense rest.
He was having a Red Bull pregame, and I said, how many is that? And he said, this is about my 5th so far. We're about an hour away from kickoff.
That's not what, though, the Arizona defensive staff wants to see is Holgorsen firing down a Red Bull. Getting back to the line of scrimmage in a hurry.
And 5 of those things, he's approaching Ed Orgeron level in terms of knocking down the Red Bull. Third down for Foles. Nick fires it out, and he's got his freshman receiver, Richard Morrison. Morrison had a couple of catches on the night. Well, covered by Andrew McGee, but Foles put that one right on the money.
At times, don't you see why Nick Foles is such a good quarterback? I mean, and tonight, I thought he went against a defense that they came to the football faster than his receivers, and his feet got to it.
There's a reason he's on pace to become the most efficient quarterback in school history.
Quick completion. Dave Roberts has it. Roberts heading down close to the 25-yard line as we come to the end of the third quarter. Well, just like last year in the bowl game, Arizona's given up 33, but they have 10 on the move and one more quarter to try to get back in it. quarter getting set to get underway in the Valero Alamo Bowl. Oklahoma State with a big lead on Arizona, 33-10. Oh, it's 11:22 here in the Central Time Zone. Some awake, some not able to quite make it through right now. A little bit late, but right now it's Oklahoma State in the process of kicking Arizona to sleep. 33-10 is the score as we start the fourth quarter. Greg Nwoko in the first carry. He gets down to about the 20-yard line. Would you like to have seen Arizona do a little bit more of this tonight?
Well, with the time of possession that they have owned throughout this game, and in the first half in particular 2-1, they just didn't take advantage of it, whether it was running or the inefficiencies throwing the ball early on. Foles wasn't accurate on the little swing passes.
It's a team we know on offense in the last 4 games of the season that really struggled to run the football. They were able to get healthy. You would have expected, I think, to see more run plays called earlier in this game.
Another running play with Nwoko. He'll be about a yard or so short of the first down. Chris Donaldson on the stop.
Arizona, they're going to have a long offseason. This is going to be a challenge. The seniors are going to have to step up for Mike Stoops. I know they're trying to raise $40 million for renovations. The athletic director, Greg Burns, out there. He's trying to sell the program and to create the atmosphere that's conducive to winning. And after you've had a losing spell like they're on right now, it's going to make it tough.
I don't think there's any question about it. You go into the offseason with some negativity now. This turned into a 5-game losing streak. Nwoko on third down, trying to get it to the 15. Where the linesman's running in there, I think he's going to be a little bit short. But this Arizona team going into the month of November, sitting at 7-1, still with Stanford and Oregon on the schedule at that time. Now, he proved not to be good enough, but at that time, starting to enter the discussion not only for BCS berth, but how they would stand among potential one-loss teams. Since then, they haven't won a game for the second straight year, even though the effort much better tonight than it was last year in the Holiday Bowl against Nebraska, but still pretty much a throttling in terms of the score. As they go for it on fourth down, Nwoko is going to have the first down across the 15. And that's gonna put a lot of heat, I think, on Arizona to perform better next year. While they have talented skill guys coming back, they've got to replace their offensive line.
Mike Stoops has brought Arizona to another level. It's their 3rd straight bowl game. It's only the 2nd time in school history that's happened. They're on television each and every week now, which is very uncommon for Arizona. But now the question is, what does Mike Stoops have to do to take the next step? And that's why games like this are so important to win, because it's a boon for recruiting in the offseason. Reese, you just mentioned it. They're going to lose 5 starting offensive linemen. They're going to lose 3 starting defensive linemen. Recruiting will be huge this offseason. Go get JUCO guys that can play right away.
All right, so now here's what you got to do. You can't just focus on the head coach and what he's doing. Now the athletic director, the athletic department, the recruiters, everybody has to step up. The fundraising, you got to give your money. You know what? Build the facilities, make sure they've got everything that's there, the bells and whistles, the bling for these players. And then once you get the players, if you don't win, then you make a move.
Hugo Chinasa sacks Foles. Oklahoma State's put a lot of pressure on Foles tonight. Now you look at this, and we talked earlier about Ralph Friedgen being gone, Bill Stewart being gone, and you see what a fine line it is between great success and the perception of needing to get to that so-called next level. Now Stoops, you look at their season, they're a razor's width away from being 10-2 right now. You know, even better.
Easily.
And, you know, it just didn't go their way. And sometimes, even when you lose guys, teams that lose a lot of close games one year, sometimes the next year the breaks go their way. So certainly they have a lot to build around with the assumed return of Foles at quarterback. Grigsby heading down close to the 15-yard line.
And Craig, you and I have been there before as players. Those off seasons and those 5 o'clock runs, those workouts, they're a whole lot easier after you've won a bowl game. I mean, winning this postseason games, kind of that jump start it gives you heading into the next season. I think a lot of teams look at these bowl games as the start of next year. They count this as the starting point. That's why it's big for these teams to try and win these games for the attitude it prepares you in the offseason.
Alex Indejas is 1 for 2 on field goals tonight. He hit one from 42, missed from 47. This one coming from 34 yards out. Zendejas pushes it wide to the right, and another missed field goal for Zendejas, who has had a struggle down the stretch in this his junior season. Oklahoma State up big in the fourth quarter in San Antonio. Conference play as you see the Valero Alamo Bowl trophy, which almost certainly will go to Oklahoma State at the end of the night. Only 4 teams from the Pac-10 bowl eligible. Washington barely got bowl eligible. We're watching Arizona tonight, and they're getting hammered pretty good by Oklahoma State. Does that impact your perception? What will happen in the national championship game? We'll talk about that in just a moment. Is Bo bowling another version of the end around that they've run several times tonight, and Bo will get it out close to the 30-yard line. Your thoughts?
I think it supports my belief and a lot of folks' belief that Auburn is far more battle-tested than Oregon. It doesn't mean Oregon's not good and capable of beating anybody, obviously.
Oregon was losing at halftime to this Arizona football team, but I still think Oregon, probably the best second-half team in the country.
Whedon to Joseph Randall. Randall has a first down and gets out close to the 40-yard line.
And I think the Pac-10 is just a top-heavy conference. I think Oregon and Stanford are 2 real teams, but what a matchup in this national title game where Michael James leads the nation in rushing yards per game. Cam Newton, the Heisman Trophy winner, everything he's accomplished. The most resilient team in college football in Auburn. One of the most explosive teams in college football in Oregon. What a dream matchup for a BCS national championship.
It ought to be an offensive showcase in Arizona. We're looking forward to providing wall-to-wall coverage on ESPN.
False start, number 75 on the offense. Penalty is 5 yards, still first down.
But as we lead up to that game and we get out to Glendale and we all watch and observe how Oregon handles the prep, how Auburn handles the media, we're gonna have this tendency to get lulled to sleep thinking Auburn SEC. Man, I'm telling you, Chip Kelly, the 3 of us, we've gone into his meetings the night before a game. He's allowed us in. We know Chip Kelly will have his team mentally and physically ready to play.
And you know, the SEC has been dominant in the BCS era. They've won half of the 12 previous BCS championships. They're 4-0 in the last 4 years, winning championships. But the SEC facing the Pac-10 in a title game for the first time. It'll be a compelling matchup for sure. It will be interesting to see what type of adjustments, because when you have a layoff as long as these 2 teams have had, there's not really much carryover in terms of momentum or who's playing well at the moment by the time you get to the championship game. Whedon fits it into Josh Cooper, and Cooper takes it across the 50-yard line.
That was a pretty good throw there.
Old baseball pitcher threw a strike.
That was a 92-mile-per-hour fastball to the flat.
You can't throw it any better than this.
It was covered well, too.
And we're all sitting here kind of waiting for this ball to get picked 6, but puts that right on the outside shoulder of Josh Cooper. But you expect that. Here's a guy that's holding every major single season passing record at Oklahoma State this year. He's broken everything.
Here's Whedon to Blackmon underneath. And Justin gets knocked down inside the 45. You know, I had to laugh. As we told you earlier, Whedon was a high draft choice by the Yankees in baseball, spent several years playing baseball, and then came back to college football. And after we met with him yesterday, we asked him if his wife, Melanie, was with him, and he said, "Oh, she's here." He said, "But she's out spending my money someplace." I said, "Your money? It's her money. She's the one that works now, man."
She's the sugar mama.
Sugar mama.
That's what he calls her sometimes. Great young man to be around. It's nice to see him have success. Kendall Hunter's having some as he gets inside the 35 and moves the chains. And unless Arizona rises up pretty soon, it's going to get really ugly.
What's interesting about the Brandon Whedon story, he actually sought out Oklahoma State. He had owned a home in Edmond, Oklahoma, not very far from Stillwater, and after all the traveling in minor league baseball, getting some love.
We love the ESPN cameraman. Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Hey, Ish, you know what?
Just
he's going to react to the sign every time. The easiest way to get on TV, kiss up to the cameraman. Blackmon has it. You know, this is a neat little variation of like a fly sweep look or a jet sweep kind of thing. He's coming in motion, they flip it. You see Mike Riley at Oregon State use that a lot with James Rogers before he was hurt.
Whoever comes in here to be the offensive coordinator next year is going to have a wealth of experience and understanding of this offense. The foundation has been laid for someone to have a lot of success. Just needs to come in here and continue the rhythm that they have in practice. It's a routine that this offense has. And man, I tell you what, they're going to run the ball next year. Blackmon, that's the worry you have about him right there, isn't it? If he doesn't come out.
He had an ankle problem late in the season, but the time off had helped him. Certainly looked good tonight. Played against Oklahoma. With a bad ankle. Take a look at Justin on the sideline. Still had over 100 yards and a touchdown. Here is Blackmon on that end around. Low tackle. Sort of planted that leg funny as he tried to brace for the impact, but he's back out there now.
Remember last year in the Holiday Bowl, we watched Ndamukong Suh, the eventual second overall pick of the draft. He was on the field on the very last snap of the game when Nebraska was winning 33-0. At some point, when you keep these guys out of the game, you feel comfortable.
A little bit of early contact. Whedon wanted the pass interference call. He was throwing it in for Bo Bowling. Trevin Wade there quickly. No flag was thrown.
But you know what? When you talk about Arizona, and you do need to remember this, they were flat against Nebraska last year, and Nebraska was really good. I agree. They played in this game. They came out and they have played hard, which will help Mike Stoops through this offseason.
They were content heading into that game last year. They had beaten Arizona State. They had just beaten USC. They may have been riding a little bit too high. Mike Stoops told us they disrespected the game last year. They have not disrespected this bowl game. They have fought hard all game long.
Dan Bailey trying to put more points on the board from 44 yards out, and the Groza winner is perfect again. 3 for 3 on the night, and Oklahoma State is up 36-10 in the fourth on Arizona.
ESPN College Football, the Valero Alamo Bowl, is brought to you by Valero, the all-American gasoline, all across America. The Lexus December to Remember sales event, now for a limited time at your Lexus dealer. And the Capital One Venture Card. What's in your wallet?
Oklahoma State's Dan Bailey just kicked his third field goal of the night. Cowboys on their way to winning the Valero Alamo Bowl, and it will be a school record 11th victory, up 36-10 on Arizona. No, New Year's Day of 2011 marks the official start of the Year of the Quarterback. We'll be toasted in a live show from San Diego. We'll look back to the best moments of the quarterback position in 2010, look ahead to the coming year, have a sneak peek of the Tim Tebow documentary that follows his path, one of the greatest players in college history to current quarterback in the NFL, live interviews with current NFL quarterbacks to hear their thoughts on how the position has evolved over the past year. New Year's Eve, countdown to the Year of the Quarterback, followed by an encore presentation of the Year of the Quarterback kickoff special. It's all on ESPN on New Year's Eve starting at 11.
Guys, I'm impressed again with Oklahoma State, their ability to bounce back and get ready for this football game. We talked to a lot of the players. They were hurt after that Oklahoma loss. Brandon Whedon told us he didn't even go back and watch the entire game tape that he played against Oklahoma, and a lot of the players didn't even watch the Big 12 title game, Oklahoma against Nebraska. Mike Gundy has done a great job getting his football team refocused to come out and play a great football game here in the Alamo Bowl.
Foles getting heat, dumps it off to Nwoko. Greg gets it out close to the 30-yard line. You know, this is going to be the best season for Oklahoma State in 22 years. 11 wins for the first time. Gundy came very close, as you mentioned, Jesse, to winning the Big 12 South. He's going to have Brandon Whedon back next year, almost certainly. Certainly Brandon could go in the NFL draft, but I think the consensus is he'll stick around and get some more time at the position. A big hit delivered by Broderick Brown on the Nwoko.
And a time now that with recruiting just about getting ready to heat up big time, you're coming out with 11 wins, a lot of momentum. Take that into those homes. And you know these kids are watching. They want to be a part of something exciting. He'll tell them about next year's opportunities. Special times at Oklahoma State.
And a new era for Oklahoma State next year as the Big 12 reduces by a couple to just 10 members. And they've got Arizona again, second game of the season.
How about at Texas A&M, at Texas, at Missouri, at Texas Tech? That's not necessarily an easy schedule next year if you're Oklahoma State. But consider what they have coming back. All 5 offensive linemen come back. We've got 14 players on defense that played this year coming back.
Their greatest challenge is going to be what we did to Nebraska last year. The country jumped on the bandwagon about, oh man, Nebraska. And I was one of them. I drank the Kool-Aid big time.
I did as well.
Okay, and so we're gonna sing the praises of Oklahoma State. That offensive line, that quarterback, this receiver, this runner, and you still got to go play the games.
Fellas down in Norman will have a little something to say about that too, I would imagine.
Amen. And they're young and they're talented as well.
Foles got rid of it to Dave Roberts, and he got hammered by Ori Lemon.
How about Texas A&M?
Absolutely.
Next year.
Ryan Tannehill coming back.
And
Very
Mike
young
Sherman,
team.
there you go.
They were the best team in the Big 12 Conference the second half of the season. When Ryan Tannehill took over at quarterback, they won 6 games in a row, beat Oklahoma, beat Nebraska, who of course both played each other in the Big 12 title game. That is the team right now nobody wants to play. So LSU better watch out.
So imagine Mike Sherman's still out developing talent on that team.
And a flag comes down. We were going to get pass interference called against the freshman Justin Gilbert. Kreiner was trying to beat him deep.
So it's going to play to the Aggies' benefit that the high-profile Oklahoma Sooners, now Oklahoma State with this right here, they're going to be the guys out there being talked about. And Aggies will just kind of go underneath the radar a little bit.
Well, and with that, they're going to have a target on
Pass
their back.
interference on the defense, number 4. Penalty is 15 yards. First down.
Another thing you might have noticed in that schedule, because of the change in configuration of this conference, whatever it's going to be called once it doesn't have 12 members anymore in the Big Ten, some of the scheduling things in terms of home and away got flipped a little bit. So Oklahoma will go to Stillwater 2 years in a row. The Pokes will have to go to Texas for the second straight year. Well, things get adjusted in the Big 12. Wide open man, and Foles hits him. It's a touchdown for Richard Morrison. There is a flag in the backfield. It might be a hold, and that's the way it's been for Arizona tonight if this indeed does come back.
And it is.
It is coming back.
Holding number 55 on the offense. Replay, second, first down.
Conan Amituanai called for the hold, exercising frustration for the Cats.
Yeah, he does. He's got it. Pretty good lock underneath there. He earned that one.
Missed opportunities, guys. Whether it's 3 interceptions, it's a fumbled punt return, it's 2 missed field goals, it's personal foul penalties, untimely penalties like that right there. Hey, to go reiterate on it, what Mike Stoops told us, sustained good play for 60 minutes. They couldn't do it this year. They could not do it tonight.
My mind's still over on the Big 12 conversation. You know who we didn't even talk about? Texas. 2 new coordinators. We're not even, you know, that tells you right there. That's interesting. That's a conversation.
I heard from Mac Brown a few days ago, and he, you know, Mac's not too fond of being sitting around the house this time of year. He's not accustomed to that, and you know, with the capability that Texas has, they'll be back. Watch the good work by the umpire in the middle of the field here. Got to get down low.
That's Greg Adams. Now, I'm going to tell you now, Greg came up to me before the game. Greg played at UTEP when we played at UTEP when I was at SMU. And he said, you remember that game? I said, man, Greg, do I? I came out of that beat up. We whipped them pretty good. But so I see good feet, man. Greg must have been a player.
Not just good feet, but the ability to bounce back up, get off the ground. It was like a linebacker instinct.
That's probably he's probably one of the reasons I have aching shoulders tonight. Flashback.
Justin Gilbert almost with the pick. Foles has thrown 3 of them tonight. Most he's thrown in any game this season. Nick only had 7 on the season coming in. But again, he's another guy. I was talking to Frank Selfo, the quarterback coach, and he said the greatest thing about Nick Foles is that he accepts coaching. He said some guys get defensive. He said he embraces it with open arms. Tell me how I can get better. He's made great strides this season. Nwoko gets it down to about the 35-yard line on 3rd down.
Well, Arizona and Nick Foles got great news when they found out the quarterback coach Frank Scelfo was going to be returning this year. There was rumors he might go take a job at Colorado. He might become the head coach at Louisiana Lafayette. But Nick Foles is a guy also that many people think has an opportunity to potentially go to the National Football League this year. And with Frank Scelfo coming back as a quarterback coach, I think that goes a long way in luring Nick Foles to stay for his senior season, give this Arizona team their best opportunity next year.
Yeah, Nick told us, he said, you know, I enjoy being underneath him, learning from him. He doesn't rip me if I throw an interception. He just says, hey, let's go back out there and let's score a touchdown and win this game.
The Iowa game, perfect example. And said he got on the horn with Scelfo after throwing an interception, and Frank told him it's okay. Let's just have a drive and win the game, and Arizona did, which, as it turns out, has pretty much been the high point, I would guess, of Arizona's season we saw last night, even though the record didn't indicate such. What a talented team that Iowa is. Their victory against Missouri. Bowles, pressured from behind, just gets rid of it and completes it to Cobb. Cobb still on his feet inside the 20-yard line, and the Cats are continuing to fight. They haven't played well. We've said it a couple of times tonight. They have continued to play hard.
It'd be very easy for a team down 36-10 late in the 4th quarter to just shut it down and just try to go home and start next year. But that's a perfect example of Nick Foles fighting in the pocket, keeping his vision downfield. He's being pulled down to the ground, making a great play on a great throw. Sure, he's thrown 3 interceptions tonight, but he is fighting till the very, very end.
Over the middle, and Terrence Miller, sophomore receiver, who's really emerged in the second half of the season, took a big hit, and now he's asking for a replacement, holding that left arm, not moving it much at all. Dave Roberts going to come on to replace him.
Corey Lemon there making that big hit you're talking about, ending his great career at Oklahoma State on having another nice night.
Grigsby gets inside the 10-yard line.
Corey Lemon's a guy that had his season ended prematurely last year at the start of the year with an ACL injury. We talked to him yesterday. He told us his time off allowed him to rediscover a new love for the game. He came back extra committed, and he's a first-team all-conference player.
3rd in the nation in solo tackles. With completion out to Morrison. He was stopped immediately by Johnny Thomas.
I think what gives you a love for the game is when you have competition around you. When players around you make you work hard at practice, you better love the game or you're not going to play. Bill Young has a defense full of talented players. I think they've gotten better as the year's gone on. He's a tremendous coach. Remember, he came here now and he came from Miami, and he had a pretty good deal going.
Gundy's about to get wet here, guys. Bryant Ward, Josh Cooper, they've got the bucket of liquid refreshment ready, and they never saw it coming. Ward, the fullback, enjoying himself. He's a senior. It's not like Mike's going to make him run or anything. 36-10 the lead. Oklahoma State on its way to the Valero Alamo Bowl championship. Duck, Mike. Season. All the formations that Dana Holgorsen uses, this is his favorite. Victory formation. Clint Chelf takes the snap, takes a knee, and Oklahoma State is going to be the champions of the Valero Alamo Bowl. Tonight's Capital One player of the game is Justin Blackmon. He broke 3 school records tonight, 9 catches, 117 yards and 2 touchdowns. Set an NCAA record for consecutive games with 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. And also broke Larry Fitzgerald's record for receiving yards by a sophomore. Other than that, it wasn't really a very good night for Justin.
I think it was a routine night by Oklahoma State. They played well on defense. The offense got their 35+. Brandon Wheaton continues to show what he can do. Man, next year he's setting himself up to have a heck of a season.
Oklahoma State wins 11 for the first time in school history. We go down to Jen Brown with Mike Gundy.
Coach, another big game from your duo, Brandon Wheaton and Justin Blackmon. What makes them so difficult to defend?
Well, Blackman's so elusive and he's so physical, and Wheaton's got such a great touch on that ball. But, boy, what a great job by our defense and Dan Bailey.
I was just going to talk about that. You forced 4 turnovers, 3 of them by your defense. Why were they so effective at shutting them down?
Well, they've done a great job throughout the year. They give up some plays, but they force turnovers, and they continue to do it, and that's really what changed the game. And then, again, Dan Bailey being able to punt like he did is really, really good. So I'm really proud of our football team.
You set a school record tonight with your 11th win. I know that Gatorade bath must have felt pretty good over there on the sidelines. What does that mean for your program, that type of an achievement tonight?
Well, our goal is to have an opportunity to win every game we play, and we fell short a couple times this year, but for these seniors to win 11 games, it means a lot. And they'll always have a special place in my heart and our coaching staff's heart, because those guys have paid the price. Nobody gave them a chance, and they won 11 games.
Getting back real quick to Blackmon and Weed, and there's been a lot of talk about their NFL prospects. What are your thoughts on the possibility of them going pro?
Well, I think they both need to come back. I think that both of them can mature. I know that they can develop, and they can really, really be good football players next year for our team and for themselves. And then I think they can elevate themselves in the draft. We'll sit down and talk about it, but I really feel like that they need to be in college next year.
Thanks, Coach. Great job. Reese?
All right, Jen. So Mike Gundy, if he has those 2 guys back, he'll be one of the favorites in the conference next season as Oklahoma State finishes up its season with its 11th win, 36-10 over Arizona. SportsCenter's coming up next. For live coverage of the trophy ceremony, you can log on to ESPN3.com. It's the last game that our entire Thursday night crew will be together intact. It's been a real pleasure, gentlemen.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody out there. Guys in the truck do a fabulous job. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Craig James, Jesse Palmer, Jen Brown, and our entire crew, I'm Reese Davis saying good night.